Everybody, welcome to the Pocket Dragon Pub. I am your friendly neighborhood DM tonight, Vixie, Belle, or Vivian, whichever you prefer. I answer to both. And this is our wonderful cast of players. Tonight we're going to be playing a sci-fi game called Euphorium: Sands of Chaos. Last year, if you tuned in January, we played a mini campaign by the same name. This is a prequel to that game, so you're going to see a lot of interesting things happening in the world. I'd like to welcome our players to the table. We have the wonderful Kristin DiMercurio, who is fantastic and amazing in so many ways.
Hi.
Yes, and who are you playing tonight?
I'm playing Nerix DiFranco.
Exciting. And then we have the enigmatic, and this is all Bex's fault because they said that they were an enigma earlier, Lyn. Lyn Rafil, welcome to the table. And who are you going to play tonight?
Tonight, I will be playing Edson.
Ooh, exciting. And of course, we welcome back our most cinnamoniest of cinnamon rolls, the wonderful Bookish. Welcome back, Bookish. Who are you going to play tonight?
I am playing Delta, just simply Delta. That's all they are.
Oh, God.
I like that Delta and Edson are both like Cher. They just got one name.
Yes, that's it. It's the name.
That's all you get.
That's all you get.
All you deserve.
Yes. And
speak for yourself.
You haven't
last
earned
but
it.
not least, we welcome back one of our most beloved table members, the wonderful Bex. Yes, you. Look at you. That you. I would talk about Dougie, but Dougie only appears in cameos. Ta-da! There's Dougie's cameo.
That's the true,
oh my
most
God.
beloved table member, always.
Yes, the truly.
Always a high roller.
Lab.
Yes. And Bex will be reprising their role as
Annie DiFranco.
Woo! From Euphorium. So you'll see a familiar character tonight and some new faces as well. And with that, let's hop right into our announcements. Jay, take it away.
Khroma Kon is a brand new weekend-long experience for all geek and nerd culture located in the Hilton Baltimore Inner Harbor. Their multifaceted, passionate organizers are doing the work to create a brand new space dedicated to a more modern and inclusive geek culture, becoming the new haven for the area's nerdy artists and creatives. The focus is on bringing together the lovers of cosplay, music, comics, gaming, toys, and much more. The Pocket Dragon Pub can't wait to visit this new beacon for Baltimore's art and nerd community. If you are in the Baltimore area, be sure to purchase your tickets early. To find out more, click on the link in our description box. Also, be sure to check out our newest show, Wheel or Woe, a TTRPG review show. Last month, we reviewed 3 horror games and played our favorite, and this month, we will be reviewing 3 cozy games. We are super excited about this new series, and the barkeeps at the Pocket Dragon hope you'll discover some TTRPGs that you've never played before through the show. If you're looking for more quality content to listen to or watch, be sure to check out Brimstone Valley Mall, produced by one of the players at our table, Kristin DiMercurio. Kristin, if you want to give us a little snippet of what Brimstone Valley Mall is all about?
Yeah. Brimstone Valley Mall is a fiction podcast. So scripted fiction podcast. It's like a TV, but without a TV. You just listen to it. And so this story, it's about, the lovely Bex is one of our characters this season. Lyn was also a big part of it as well. They've got a couple cameos. Brimstone Valley Mall is a story about a couple of gay demons from hell working in a shopping mall in South Central Pennsylvania in the 1990s.
It's great.
There's Hot Topic, there's corn dogs. It's a good time. It's funny. I think it's funny. And Bex will make you fall in love with the character. So we have one season out already, and our second season we just finished recording, and it'll be coming out when it comes out. I refuse to promise a release date this time. Learn my lesson.
Last but not least, you may have seen our newest Pocket Dragon Pub video segment during Line in the Sand. What Are You Drinking is a fantastic drink series brought to you by our amazing friends at the Pocket Dragon's favorite nerd bar, the Guildhall. With 2 locations in Burbank and Whittier, the Guildhall offers local craft beers, craft cocktails, and delicious food while you enjoy 200 plus free-to-play board games and watch Twitch streams, anime, and other nerdy content. Don't worry, we also offer mocktail alternatives in the segment for people who just want to have creative libations. And that's all the announcement for today. Vixie, back to you.
Amazing. I'm so excited. But now that our announcements are over, is everybody ready to play a game?
Let's play a game.
I got so many dice right now.
So many
available.
dice.
I'm so ready.
I have 3 sets of dice just in case, but I have another big bag of dice just waiting.
Breaking out
Alrighty.
the big D20 for today, baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I have one for this
Here we
too.
go. Our journey tonight takes us back in time, 2 years before the discovery of Euphorium and before the voyage of the Nihilus. We return to the Carabiner and the dual star system known as the Eighth Nani. In the Eighth Nani system, only 4 planets are known to be hospitable to life. These 4 planets are the linchpin of communications between the Silrain Arc and the Carabiner. Nordstern, the port planet, Serpens, the mining planet, Teke, the paradise planet, and Kahzen, the last stop. Kahzen is the furthest of the 4 planets from the dual suns at the center of the Eighth Nani, yet it is the hottest and least hospitable to life. With a minimal population and almost no supervision from the Silrain Arc, many peoples of questionable origins have chosen to make this planet their home. If you no longer wish to be found, you come to Kahzen. Comprised of desert and rock, the unforgiving climate of Kahzen is difficult, but not impossible to live in. Flat plateaus of rock seem to float over the oceans of sand on the planet. It is on these plateaus that humanoid life has managed to find a way to flourish. The largest pockets of groundwater belong to the 3 main city-states within Kahzen: Taruz, Bahar, and Rashan. Rashan is the smallest of these plateaus and the least visited. It is in this seedy little city-state that we find the overwhelmingly tall, dark fortress of the Symbolist Syndicate, the most powerful entity on the plateau. Within its walls, a tall Promethean man is pacing the inside of a conference room, obviously irritated. A pair of women sit just to his right. And that is where we will begin our story, because all of you have received a missive to meet in this conference room. So, that said, let me go ahead and pull up more notes because I have so many. There we are. The first person to arrive seems to be humming a happy little song. And before we even get to your description, Bex, can you roll perception?
I can roll perception. What's my plus? Oh, 22.
22, amazing. So you smell it as you walk up. The overwhelmingly floral, vibrant scent of a drug called pink, which just so happens to be one of the main products that the Symbolist Syndicate moves around. Generally, this is a bad sign, because the person, you know that the person that's waiting for you only smokes that much pink, and they're trying not to break something.
Annie immediately stops humming the happy little tune.
Yep. So why don't you describe Annie for us as you walk into the room?
Annie is 6'2" human. It's easy to misidentify how old this kid is because of their height and because of their stature. They're 14. They are a child, and they're very human looking with a little bit of modifications. They've got purple hair and purple eyes, and everything else is just very tall, very lanky human teenager. They're very naive.
And so you walk into the room and you have a seat, and we await the rest of the group that has been summoned. So as you enter the room and have a seat, you can see your brother with a joint of pink between his fingers.
Hi,
He
brother.
looks pissed. Annie, surprised you're the first one here.
Why? I can be on time.
Sure.
Now's not a time for jokes. Got it.
He looks at you and just says sure, and like what? Like that response is not the normal response, and you know that. Usually he'll like tease you or he'll like, say something, but he's beyond. So that said, next to enter the room, you almost hear it, and there's like a little bit of a crackle in the air, an electric crackle. It's like static, but not really. It's very, very faint. But yeah, Lyn, why don't you talk a little bit about Edson?
Yes, so Edson is just like a small kind of a wisp of a guy. He comes in wearing like his normal garb, like black shirt underneath a tan jacket. I may or may not have dressed up for this. And like kind of peering through the glasses, which mine are lensless currently because the glare would be really bad. I checked.
Mm-hmm.
But you can kind of see his eyes like darting around the room. Not necessarily out of like a nervous tick, but instead is kind of analyzing the environment as he walks in. He's like 5'2", 5'3", probably slouches a little bit more, so closer to the 5'2" range. Like black mohawk, that's kind of like slicked back a bit. His like cybernetic implants showing up on his temples. He is a Promethean, and like kind of in like his early 30s. So it's a little bit strange to be so much shorter than Annie, but is kind of accustomed to being on the smaller side and doesn't seem to be bothered by as such. So despite being like slouched over, it's not out of a sense of like fear, nervousness, or lack of confidence. It's just he's got permanent like smartphone hunch kind of thing. So he walks into the room, just kind of like assessing the situation, looks over at Belle and Annie, kind of gives like a curt nod, and presumably just quietly takes a seat. Are there chairs in this conference room?
Yes, there are. There are chairs.
Great.
It's your standard conference room. It's a big long table with chairs and a monitor / projection screen on one end of the room. And that, on that note, Belle looks at the axe DiFranco, who is the man that's been smoking pink, looks up at you and says, "Do you have the security footage?" As he takes another puff of smoke.
I always do. And then I guess I set up my recording device to link into the projector as beep, beep, beep.
Great.
That's
Awesome.
not the noise that he makes. That's what I make in order to do that.
I was going to say, I was like,
the
okay.
idea that Edson just under his breath goes, "Idly."
Yep.
I think that's great. All right. And then just at that moment, while you're setting that up, Belle's data pad pings, and he looks at the notification and raises an eyebrow and says, 1,200. What did we spend 1,200 Qubel on? And one of the women in the room, who looks very playful and has a similar vibe to Annie, but doesn't look like Annie necessarily, they look more like Belle, says, "Well, Nerix needed new clothes. What are you talking about?" Belle's like, "It cost 1,200 for new clothes." "Well, technically it was an infiltration suit, but I offered to pay most of it." "How much is most of it?" And right as he asked that question, you walk in, Nerix. Kristin, why don't you describe your character for us?
Okay, so Nerix is a Dendu. So her skin is like a grayish purpley color. She, instead of hair, she has these tentacles called larima that sort of just like she keeps sort of tied up in like sort of like a braid, as much as you can braid tentacles, just like keeps them out of the way. Nerix is small and lethal. She's a little tiny badass. She comes in at 4 foot nothing. She is quite little, pretty ripped, I'd say. And she is our 255-year-old assassin. So Nerix, which for a Dendu, that's like roughly like in her like mid-50s. Like she's not like retired yet, but she's kind of working on it. So she comes in. She's known the DiFranco family for most of their lives. Yes, she comes in she is currently wearing her new infiltration suit, because the moment she's not taking it off since the moment she got it. Because listen, the clothes that she has, they're a little beat up. Like they've seen a lot of jobs. She's killed a lot of people wearing a lot of these clothes. And so now she just got a new shiny piece of armor. So she walks in wearing it. She's like waiting for someone to comment on it. And then so sticking out of her back pocket are also 2 little crochet needles, but she doesn't know what crochet is yet. It's something new she's trying. They're actually, so she's calling them her crotchet needles. She's kind of hoping somebody asks about that too, because so that's
Let's talk about crochet.
Yeah, she's really excited she's learning a new skill. It's important at her age to keep her mind fresh. So she is, she walks in the room. She sees Belle smoking some pink, kind of gives him a little wink and goes, "That stuff's gonna kill you. You know that?" Which is what she says every time she sees him smoking, and she also smokes it. That's Nerix.
Bull just stares at her for a minute and then looks back at the other woman sitting there, and Mendy, who is that woman, looks at you and goes, Nerix, you look wonderful. Did you also get that dress I asked you to get?
I did. Oh, yeah. Hang on. I got a picture for you. She like pulls up a little thing, and it's like 18 pictures of her at different angles wearing the dress. And be like,
That's wonderful.
This will be for Annie's birthday. Thank you so much. This is just, it really, it's pretty good. But look at that. I'll start spinning around.
No. Also
shows
sharp.
the
Also
armor.
sharp. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. It's great. Here, hit me. I can't even feel it. I can't even feel it.
Bap.
Right?
Like she just gives you like a playful little like whack.
Anyway, Mandy, we still on for Tuesday? For
Yes.
you want to do?
Tuesday's great.
Okay, cool. Anyway,
Tuesday's
Hi,
great.
Auntie Anne.
hi Annie. You excited for your birthday?
I am. I'm excited for your shining. Is that armor?
Mm-hmm. What do you think? You gotta be prepared. Gotta be ready.
Can I have some?
Man, when you're
Looks
older.
at both.
And
Can I have
in
some?
unison, all three of the three people at the table go no. But Mendy reaches over and ruffles your hair, Annie, and says, "But don't worry, you'll be 15 soon, almost an adult, but not quite." And on that note, we wait for the final, but not unimportant member that has been summoned to this conference meeting. And at that point, Bull looks at, he's glancing at his data pad and says, I wonder what face they'll be wearing today. What's the code phrase again? And Varys, who is the other woman at the table, who looks more like Annie, it looks down and says, I'm not sure. I'm looking for it right now. And that's when Delta walks into the room. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your character, Bookish?
Delta is a 5'8" changeling, often pale white skin with stark white hair and fully black eyes. But today they are in their human form, a more masculine version of themselves with kind of a green hue to their hair, but eyes are still just these black orbs, but look more human in nature. They wear what looks like a lab coat, a shirt that says Get Poked, and some baggy sweatpants, along with their dock boots. And they just walk in and someone called for a doctor.
That's the phrase. That's what I was looking for. Bull points over, without looking up, Bull points his finger at you and then looks up as he sticks the pink joint back in his mouth and motions for you to have a seat.
Yeah. You don't have to ask me twice. He sits down.
All right, who had 5 Cubal on Get Poked for the day?
That would be me.
All right, here's cashing it. Here's 20.
I love it.
It's all right. I'm just passing it around back and forth these days.
I was so sure I was going to be sick of this. I was so sure.
I think there's a pattern. We'll talk about it later.
Oh God, we've got a system. You see Bull put out his joint, there's an ashtray in front of him, and he just kind of snuffs out the thing. And the way that he puts it out, you can tell is very aggressive. Whatever just happened, he wants to do it to that person or to that, whatever is causing an issue. And he looks up, you see this, and Bull the Axe DiFranco is also a Promethean, and so is his mother Varys. But Bull is actually quite tall for a Promethean. He's actually taller than Annie, and a lot more built. This is someone who has seen combat, who has done quite a bit athletically. There's a reason he is called the Axe, and you can tell that in his bearing and his physique. So as he gathers you together, he motions to you, Edson, to turn on the security footage she mentioned.
Beep boop boop.
I love that. We're just going to use that the whole time. All right.
Text tone.
Add a little bit of dial-up.
Yeah.
It's the AOL connection noise. Oh my god. But
You've got
mail. That is not what we're going for here, no. All right, and with that said, you see an image flash onto the screen, the monitor screen, as the room goes dark, automatically to help you visualize, of the city-state of Bahar. And there you see footage of Bull with another figure in a hood, with two other figures in a hood, running away from a group of soldiers that were after them. And you can tell Bull is doing his best. This is a man who knows how to get away, ducking around corners, trying to make sure that they were getting out of the way. But no matter what they did, these soldiers seemed to know where they were. Then finally, you see a transport with the Symbolist Syndicate's heraldry on it, 3 stars on a black field. They've managed to make it there, but the moment that Bull gets the other 2 figures onto that transport flies away without him. And in an opposite direction to Rashawn. You all know enough about where the city-states are located that you know that's not where home is located. And that is what the footage entails. If you would like to roll perception to see if you find any details in the footage, you can do that. If anyone would like to roll insight, I will also do that as well. You can also do that as well.
8. $17.
Okay, so we've got an 8. This is all perception?
Mine's
Perception.
insight.
Okay, so 8 perception. What was the other perception?
I got a dirty 20 perception if we.
Dirty 20 perception. Okay. And then Bookish, you rolled insight. What was the number?
17.
17. Okay. So Bookish, the first thing you notice is that throughout this entire ordeal, tensions are very high. Something very, very bad has happened here. You know that. And just in this whole interaction, you can tell that Bull did everything right. There was nothing in this scenario that Bull did wrong to protect the other 2 hooded figures. It literally was a force beyond his control. Because it was one of yours. Which, Edson, that's something that you might notice, is it was one of your transports that was essentially commandeered. On a dirty 20, Nerix, you see something on those soldiers, a detail that other people might have missed with the content, the general content of the footage. You see a bit of purple, and as you kind of zero in on that little spot of color, you notice a black sun emblazoned on the uniforms of these soldiers. You also notice, and this is from your years as an assassin and fighting various people with different combat prowesses, that they are all using or carrying a microfilament whip.
So yeah, looking at the footage, she's immediately going to point that out, and be like, hang on a minute, I've seen this before. Hang on. Can we rewind a little bit? You see that? Mentions the purple, mentions the sun, mentions the microfilament whip. She's like, I don't know who this is, but I think I've seen this before. Have you?
If you'd like to roll history, anyone who would like to try and identify this group.
Is history lore?
Yes, history would be lore. Yes. I have to keep remembering that it's different words because we're playing in Espergenesis, which I should mention actually. We are playing in the Espergenesis system, which is a campaign setting for the 5e roll set.
I got a 16.
21.
16, 21. What did Annie get?
14.
14.
His age.
Yes,
Hey.
amazing. All right, and Nerix?
That'd be an 8. So I'm thinking she knew at some point, but she's so old, she's forgot. You know, she can't remember everybody.
It's not that important.
You know, it feels familiar to you.
Wait, it was by the shoot.
It's Delta who actually gets it with the. Who was the 21? Was that Delta?
No, that was
Edson.
No, it was Edson. So Edson gets it first. Edson, with your sharp memory and quick wit, you realize that the House of the Black Sun is none other than House Zarina. So, and that's Zarina.
I wrote it like
So.
Selena, and I was like, gotta keep an eye out for Selena.
I heard
Oh, God.
Selena.
Zavina, that was what it was. It's a callback to days gone by. But yes, it's so you know that House Zarina is located in Taruz, the largest plateau on the planet that's been discovered so far, I should say. They're an ambitious faction, and they're known for their excellent microfilament whip work. You also know them to be incredibly ambitious and seeking power by whatever means possible.
You mentioned earlier that the ship flew in the opposite direction of where we would be expecting it to. Could I roll investigation to approximate
direction it
where
went?
the ship would be going in?
Yes, that's fine.
Well, how did you get back?
I walked.
Oh.
It was not a fun time. He looks even more irritated. He pulls his arms over his chest. And you know, walking in that desert was not a good time. And he takes a breath. He takes a breath, and as he answers, he says, "Technically, I walked, but I didn't. I wasn't the one doing the walking. The Shotere was." And you know this. A Shotere is essentially a type of camel-like creature that is native to Kahzen.
That is a 15 on investigation. I rolled low.
15. Okay. Well, you're not 100% sure which direction it could have gone in, that transport. You know that they were in Baruz, so there's really, unless they were going somewhere like way out of the way, they could only go to Taruz or to Roshan. So as far as settlements go. But as you point that, if you point that out to the group, Varys and Mendy's actually the Promethean, I stand corrected, sorry about that, Bex, will let you know that we'll give you a little more information on that. But first, we do want to talk about, is there anything else that anyone wants to do, like in terms of farming perception, getting more information, et cetera, et cetera? We're good?
Can I roll insight on my brother?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Nope. Yeah, you.
That's an 11.
It's just all rage all the time.
Yeah.
This man might as well be a barbarian. He's so pissed. But anyway, so
can I give him a little? Can I reach in my little granny pouch and give him a little hand cream? You're gonna chap your knuckles.
I really thought it was gonna be like a
strong.
strawberry chocolate situation.
Oh my god, like a little Werther's.
Yeah, like a little Werther's caramel.
Maybe like a little bit just rub this in on your knuckles, honey. It'll make it feel a lot better. It's really dry out there.
Are you
Were
giving
those
it to
melted?
Bowl or are you giving it to Annie? Are you giving it to Bowl or Annie? Because I think you're
To
gonna
Bowl.
confuse it. Oh,
Because Bowl just walked through the desert.
Bowl takes it and is like, he just sighs and undoes the cap and does as she asks, like the ever-suffering nephew who's just putting up with his aunt. His aunt's nonsense.
We've all been there.
You'll thank
Yes.
me later. She screws it up, puts it back in her thing.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Auntie Anne. And with that, he looks at you, and when you give the information about House Zarina, he says, all right, can you pull up a map of the city-states.
Beep boop boop. Beep boop.
I love this. Just the AOL sound every
That's
time.
never gonna
Yeah. That's the sound that's happening from Edson is not making these sounds. I do have to say.
My
Annie
head
is
can't-
making those sounds.
Yes, everybody's headcanon. Edson is making those sounds.
Oh gosh.
Or that the machine makes the exact sounds you're making, so the machine goes beep boop boop like in your voice.
Yeah. The machines are coded
God.
very strangely.
Yes. Welcome to sci-fi.
Yeah.
So that's
Say they're
so you pull up
queer-coded?
you pull up the map, and Varys actually, who is the human part of the couple that is Mendy and Varys, takes a hard look at it, and she points out two things. Well, if it's House Zarina, there's only two places they could really go. One is a weapons storehouse in Taruz. The other is an oasis cave. It's the one cave we haven't been able to get them to sell to us. So, and Mendy hops in here and says, tactically, they both have their advantages. It just really depends on what's going on here. And with that, Bull states they took Cattleya, Mater Song, and her attendant, which means the Dowager is involved. And all of you know, for the sake of our audience, we have to fill them in with a little exposition, that the Dowager is one of the most powerful people in the Carabiner. She is a woman who is more powerful even than the Syndicate. And she'd recently sent her daughter over to the Syndicate in hopes of making a marriage match with Bull. However, all of you know that was going to be meh at best. And it looks like there was an incident now with this situation. So feel free to ask any questions you like or make any inferences in the roleplay regarding that.
If the House Zarina is as ambitious as they say, taking Cattleya could both be a power grab against the Dowager as a hostage situation, but could also look very bad for the family. In either sense, it could be a really big bargaining chip for both our houses.
Bull nods.
Kind of smart, actually.
I don't get why I'm here. You told me to stay away from Cattleya.
Bull sighs and looks at Annie. I don't know why you're here either. Your mom insisted. And he motions to Mendy. And Mendy's like, Annie needs experience. He's going to be part of the family. What do you want from me?
I can help, but do I still have to stay away from Cattleya if we find her?
Bull grits his teeth and looks at the sky. He can't kill you because you're his brother. And he says, fine.
Okay, I'll help.
Nerek's is sort of looking at the security footage again. So, how long ago did this happen? Do we know if the Dowager knows yet, or?
Bull pulls out his personal mobile device and sets it on the table. He pushes a button, and a hologram of a very well made up older woman appears. Older humanoid woman. She looks, by the color of her skin, the faint light bluish color, you can see that she's actually an Eldori, which is another race in the Carabiner. And she looks very annoyed. The message states, I've heard that there's been some issues with my daughter's visit. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to her directly in the next 24 hours. Otherwise, we might have an issue between our factions. Ta-ta for now. And that was it.
Could she have possibly kidnapped her own daughter because she doesn't actually want to work with us?
Varys looks at you and says, it is a possibility. She is looking for any reason to eliminate competition.
And in theory, that would give her an excuse to take out both of us.
That's some good thinking there, Annie. Look at you pulling your weight at the table. Ruffles the hair a little bit. There's a ruffle of hair way up here. It climbs up, ruffles the hair.
Ruffles the hair. Oh my god. Bull nods. Well, and Mendy adds, to be fair, there hasn't been any news of a marriage match. And if she fails in marrying into the family, then the next step is to destroy us.
Which she's always wanted to do.
If she can't control you, she'll destroy you. That's her motto. And Bull just kind of hits, you hear the thunk as Bull's hand hits the table in a very frustrated way. I don't want to be used as a pawn. I can't. I won't put the family through that. And from
Insight
there,
check.
Insight check.
Oh, natural 1.
Yeah, you know nothing. He's still mad. He's mad.
He's mad.
It's just mad. But yeah, so Mendy says, well, look at it this way. If they go to Taru's, that's the fastest way off planet. The only off-space port is there. So if I were smuggling a rare and exotic good like Cattleya, I would go there first. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything, but that would be my first thought. At least if I wanted to gain power and I wanted to hold all the cards. And it sounds like House Zarina might do that. But if they're working for the Dowager, then they might just take her to a cave and keep her safe until the Dowager has, I don't know, declared war or something like that. And then they would get her off-world and back to her mother.
The ship they commandeered was one of ours, correct?
Bull answers you, yes, it was one of our hover cars.
Do we have security systems, GPS, etc., that would be still accessible for the ship's trajectory?
Roll intel. Like, I think I'm gonna do an intelligence check for this.
Flat intelligence?
Let me take a look. I'm looking at your stat sheet. One moment,
Okay.
please.
Because it could also be computers?
Yes, I believe that's what I'm looking for, because I have to
All
remember
right.
all the different words since it's a different stat sheet. Yes, please roll for computers.
Computers.
Yes.
Roll for computers. 17 plus 8, whatever that number
Oh, yeah,
is.
you were,
25.
That is a huge number. You're good. I feel like you have an eidetic memory just because of your nature. So in your mind, you can picture the hover cars, the blueprint of the hover car, and what its systems it has installed. And you know that in the thousands of centuries that they have built cars, for whatever the hell reason, they have made the GPS and the computer systems the most hackable thing on Earth, right next to cell phones, which is why we got that years ago. So
I keep saying to update the software and the hardware, but no one ever listens to me. No one ever does.
So, yes. So
Too expensive. You want
but you also know, because you are you and you came in the way that you did, you have fail-safes in the hover car. I'm going to let you describe what those fail-safes are and how you use them to figure out what's going on with the hover car and where that hover car could have ended up.
I think that there is there are probably two main fail-safes in most of our vehicles. One is a secret backdoor, because I install a secret backdoor into everything, regardless of whether or not people like that I do that or not. It comes in really handy. And just to my knowledge, I'm the only one who knows that they exist and how to get into them. So that's one aspect. And then the other that is a little bit more, I suppose, public to the higher members of the family, like the people who work security and information in particular, is probably the equivalent of I don't know, like an Apple AirTag, that is like is probably at a frequency, like a really uncommon frequency that we would know to be able to keep track of our property. There's probably some like shady aspects as well. That's like, okay, we're keeping an eye so that people go where they say they're going. Both so that we can keep track of our property, but also keep track of like our family's activity, to be aware of like if anyone is, you know, slacking off or perhaps like going turncoat or anything, that we would be like abreast of their actions, even if they don't know. It's definitely like skeezy. But like, so these are probably things that are not widely known to everyone. But would certainly be known to Bull and Bull's and Annie's parents at the very least. That there are methods of tracking, at least probably on the planet system.
I believe Annie would also know this, but it's because Annie tends to get lost. So rather than put tracking in his underpants, they
Annie likes to eavesdrop, so Annie probably heard about this and requested and was like fully on board by the time they were like, yeah, you got lost, we need to do this.
I'm the whole reason
like,
Annie
maybe
has
like
a
microchip like a dog, like it's in the back of your neck. We check you at the vet.
Oh my god.
That was actually Annie's recommendation, was just put a chip in me. And Belle was like, absolutely not.
Right? Absolutely.
Delta could probably do that.
Yes. But okay, so Edson, so you know all these systems. How do you use them to figure out where the car is?
So I think at this point, sorry, I'm looking through like my actual, I want to use the flavor of like the actual equipment that I have just for fun, if I have things.
Whatever you like, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, like I have like my own personal sim unit that is like connected to the Shadownet and everything. So I put down, I would normally, my glassless lenses like have a flip thing. So I'd probably like flip my glasses lenses down. And then you'd see like a little bit of like the crackle go through like the circuitry in the implants. And like, you can't tell if it's the glasses lenses glowing or if the eyes behind are glowing. It kind of conceals that. But as I jack into the mainframe,
I'm in.
I'm in.
Oh God.
So I pretty much, what that would look like in the little visual would be like the kind of like Matrix style, like looping in. It would be like my consciousness, like going through my own like series of code, looking for that particular. It'd be looking through. I'm like thinking like the Iron Man like data visual stuff.
That stuff. So
like some of that stuff is coming up where I'm looking for any vehicle that is not on like the planned path that it's supposed to be on. Narrowing that down is like zoom in, enhance, until I can find the position, or at least the last known position of that ship that is like off the path that it's supposed to be on.
All right, and riding that 25, you find that the hover car has been left in the middle of the desert, right in between Bahar and Taruz.
I got the last known location. Just like zooms back in. I have the last known location and then like pings on the map hologram thing that we're looking at. I assume that there's a hologram. I don't know.
Yes, there's a hologram. I'm
right.
imagining like that like hologram, like a hologram in the middle of the table, and then if you have to like show footage or something, there's like a monitor there.
Yeah.
As well.
So it does this thing of like zooming through the hologram map and then pinging the last known location. That's and then asking like, is this? Do we know the proximity of where that Oasis cave is? Is this anywhere close to it? They could have also switched vehicles and headed towards Taruz, but
it's possible.
If the way to Taruz, why don't we just stop there first? No,
that's true. We can investigate this site,
and maybe if they left the hovercraft there, we could get it back.
Also true. Bull looks at all of you and he says, "Look, what the bottom line is, we need to get Cat Leia back, and I called all of you here to help me. Believe it or not, Annie is actually much more of a people person than I am, and given my relationship with the Dowager, it's probably a better idea if Annie goes and I don't. Delta can give medical attention if necessary, because we don't know what they've put Cat Leia and her attendant, her name is Amaryllis, through. We're gonna need Edson to hack through any defenses, and Nerix, he just breathes a deep sigh. They need to be erased. If you know what I mean.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll fucking kill him. Let's do it.
I love Nerix so much. He leans forward so that he's like this tall man is sort of bent and like almost at eye level with everyone at the table who is sitting, theoretically, except for maybe Nerix, who might be standing on a chair, but we don't know that. I'll let Nerix decide that. But he said, we're on a time limit. The Dowager expects to make contact with her daughter in 24 hours. If we can't find her, she's going to destroy every symbolist operative in the 8th Navy, possibly even in the Carabiner, and every place in which they are found. It's not just symbolist lives at stake, but also collateral damage. Innocent people just trying to live their day-to-day lives. Kahzen will become a war zone, and with the network in the Dowager's pocket and the Silrain Alliance barely present, there's gonna be no victory. Only subjugation and death. I'm counting on you to prevent that from happening. 20 minutes. Go to the transport bay. That's when your car will be ready. Varys and Mendy are going to follow up on the other location, the cave, just in case. Because if this is something the Dowager is trying to pull, we're gonna have a problem. For the exact location of the warehouse, if that's where you guys are going, you're gonna have to visit our informant in Taruz. His name is Kyries.
Kyries.
Kyries, K-I-R-E-E-Z.
Kyries.
Good luck. And that's it. That's the conference. That's the meeting that could have been an email.
I don't think you want
email.
that in an email as far as info security goes, but
Yeah, that's hackable.
Fair. That's hackable.
it would have been
fair,
so
just, like,
encoded language. It would just be so annoying. It's like
Annie would have
Yes.
ignored it.
Yeah, and it would have
sent
been like,
to
nope.
spam.
Eric's like, you need the person-to-person contact, like, to really get the message.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Is
Amazing.
the message death?
Sometimes.
Oh God. All right, so you have 20 minutes to prepare as you like before you have to be in the transport bay to meet your hover car that will be taking you to visit Kyries.
And he spends about 15 minutes with his moms.
Oh.
Aww. Mendy and Varys just fawn over you. It's so obvious you're the youngest. Like, because you have Bull, who's like the perfectionist, the eldest child who must be a bastion of whatever the hell. And Varys and Mendy are just like, but Annie, so cute, so sweet. Baby. Baby. I will say this, before you leave, Bull actually lets you know to visit weapons on your way to transport. Each of you are going to get a special kind of grenade. Just give me 1 second, I gotta tell you what kind of grenade that is. One moment, please. There it is. You each get a gravitic grenade.
It's like a mini black hole.
So basically the way it works is it does, you are going to do 1d10 force damage. If it has the thrown property, so you have to be within 20 feet of whatever you're throwing. You can only throw at 20 feet. Unless somebody has a grenade launcher, in which case you can fire at 60. I don't know, Nerix seems like she might have a grenade launcher to me.
I almost put one in my thing, but I was like, nah, she's more of a knives girl.
Oh, no, okay. Here's the thing. I'm adding a little bit of extra flavor to the gravitic grenade as well, but I will reveal that to you if you decide to use it.
How many gravitic grenades? Just one?
Just one each.
Unless
So
you
between-
have the feet.
Yeah, between all of you, you have a total of 4.
Cool.
Are grenades martial weapons?
Grenade. This particular grenade is listed as special.
Oh, just special?
Yeah,
Okay.
just special.
All right. No proficiency bonus.
Yeah,
No
right.
proficiency to that. No, you just throw it and you hope you make the athletics check. That's all.
Oh,
Gotcha.
God.
Because I believe it's a successful athletics check to throw it. But
It's athletics? Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay. That is a very different modifier for me.
it's the best stat. It's fine. You're fine. Delta, did you want to prepare anything? Med kit, anything?
Delta would make sure that they did get like a med kit and
Mm-hmm.
any like provisions that they might need, bandage wise and what have you, anything to treat a wound of any variable kind of classification.
What's the
Amazing.
equivalent of healing potions in this? It's like an healing ampule
Ampule.
or
A
something.
healing ampule, yes.
A healing
Should
salve.
we stock up on
Yes.
a couple of those?
I think
Yeah, we're all pretty
Annie already has one, but it's by virtue of Annie being a walking disaster. But yes, if you need them, feel free to stock up on them. They are brain no word. The Symbolist Syndicate will provide you with at least one. If you want more, you will have to purchase them.
Do we know how much they cost?
I can get that number for you. Let me know, please.
Because
Please,
as
your
I
call is
mentioned,
important to us.
Edson is a wisp of a guy.
Yes, I
in
understand.
many different ways. So, just in case, ideally
Yes.
would not get hit, but
Theoretically.
I feel like Annie is probably going to buy a couple extra healing ampules on the request of one of his moms.
Yes. How many more did you want to buy?
Probably 3 for safety.
Okay, so that's in addition to your 1. That's they are quite pricey though. Oh, and you work for a pretty wealthy syndicate though.
Annie has
The
an
healing
allowance.
ampoule is 500.
oh,
Cool. All right, I'll take it.
So,
I can
uh,
afford one more.
I will only
you
take
can always
one.
roll
then.
to have the syndicate buy it for you.
Yeah,
Okay,
can I
that's
roll
making it.
for? I'm gonna roll for reimbursement.
Yes, roll for reimbursement. You know
Can I
the
do that
rules.
too?
You just go ahead and you roll a
Natural 20.
natural 20 for
Because you're the
wait.
baby and the favorite.
Because
Because
you're
I'm the baby.
Literally, they just give them to you. Like your moms buy them for you. Like they're just like
It's
"Here
your
you go."
allowance.
Yes, like just you know what? That's okay. These are early birthday presents. Okay, we want you to come back. And
Thanks, Mom.
hey,
That's an ensure your birthday present.
Yes.
I got a
Yes.
12.
you got a 12.
Yeah.
They will buy one for you, but they won't buy the other.
Great.
Thank you.
So I'll.
I also rolled a nat 20.
Yes.
Literally, like they're like, well, look, Annie is just we love Annie to death, but he's really only 14. So here's a couple of extras, and they hand you 2.
Great.
Yes.
All right. I'll.
Mostly because they
buy-
won't all fit in your pockets, Annie.
Yes, basically. Like Annie gets like a peanut butter sandwich, a bag lunch, like
A Go-Gurt.
yes, Go-Gurt. He's just sitting on the hover car having a Go-Gurt. Like best day ever.
Legs dangling and
Yes.
legs wobbling in the wind.
Yep.
Am I assuming that they're 1d8 healing? I'm guessing what the
Give me
healing
one moment. I
is.
have it up. I'll tell
I'm
you.
just gonna ask you again when we use them.
When? You mean if?
I'm writing
If
it down.
Knowing Anakin, I'm going.
Well,
for
yeah.
him.
So it's a matter of when. You're right. Ugh.
And he's squishy.
So just an FYI, you have a data pad, which is basically like an iPad, and a PMD, which is more like it's what a cell phone would be if a cell phone wasn't as easily hackable. You know, like no one's gonna put
Personal
up a
media
tower,
device.
basically.
I read
it's-
the acronyms.
Yes, your personal media device. It's we're just gonna assume they're not as easily hackable. Like no one can set up a box in a tower and hack your crap.
I have personally beefed up everyone's things.
Yes. You're the reason that everything is so covert at the Symbolist Syndicate and can't be traced.
I know.
Nerix comes to you 3 times a day asking what her password is.
At this point, I'm like, Nerix, it is just your name backwards. I made it easy for you to understand.
But remember the time we had to change it and I had to add like an underscore? Is that still in there?
No, that was 5 times ago.
God.
Just your name backwards.
I figured it. I remembered it. I got it.
Delta
God.
didn't need much help because of their engineering. They have a good grasp with technology.
Thank you.
So they probably help every so often when you need an extra set of hands.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say,
ready.
for everyone who was asking, a healing ampoule does 2d4 plus 2. So if you drink it, you'll gain 2d4 plus 2 hit points. But I will say this, for the purposes of this, drinking or administering the medical vial takes an action, because this vial can be consumed, like you can drink it, you can also inject it, which means Bookish, for Delta, you probably are able to stock up on those without any cost to you because you're a medic.
Yes, it comes in my pack for sure. I do have the injection guns and what have you.
Great. So are you buying healing ampoules also, or do you have some in your kit already?
I don't have any in my kit, but also I'd have to roll to get help to buy one because I only got.
You can roll with advantage.
Okay.
To have the Symbolist Syndicate provide them. For the audience at home, the Symbol will actually buy their, the family members things for them, but they do have to roll for reimbursement.
Do I add anything to it, or is it just flat?
Just flat.
17.
Oh yeah, you get 3 as well.
3. Let me put that. 3 healing ampoules, you said?
Yes.
I'm typing upside down.
I pay for an extra healing ampoule in crypto.
In crypto? Oh God. We'll call that digital currency, and I will give you the ampoule. You can have an extra ampoule just for that.
Yes.
Just great. But okay, yeah, my inspiration is generally in the form of items or a d20 reroll. So
amazing.
Just FYI. Yep. I like giving people stuff, and there's a whole book full of stuff to give.
There's so much stuff.
Oh yeah. But anyway, all right. So you guys are all loaded up. Everybody's got everything they need, and you make your way down to transport, where a all black hover car is waiting for you. Your driver also stands outside, and because for security purposes, your driver always wears it's basically like if they were going on a motorcycle. You have your helmet. It's a black helmet with a shaded visor, so you can't see a face, and they wear all black. And this is less for you and more for if someone sees them in the vehicle, they can't identify who was driving, basically. Who was driving the vehicle. The hover car itself, think of the body of a very expensive vehicle, Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce, BMW, pick your expensive vehicle of choice, but without any wheels. It's actually operated via magnetic force, I believe. But the way that it's set up is that those magnets are not on a track the way that we know it conventionally. They are actually consistently repelling each other. So instead of tires, you have this sort of constant repulsion happening between them. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
I pulled my old dusty physics textbooks and was like, God, I hope that's science.
I mean, it's fantasy science or science fiction science, but it works well enough.
It'll do the job. I'll make it better later. We've got lots of years between now and then. But yes. So that's basically how these type of vehicles work. They are they're faster and more convenient than other modes of transportation, simply because they don't have to deal with sand. So, yeah. So that said, you all hop into the vehicle, your driver gets in with you, not a word, doesn't say anything. Literally, it's just like another day on the job. Like, Annie, if you try to say hello, he's just gonna nod at you and move on with his life.
Annie has actually grown accustomed to this and just nods.
Yep. Cool. So everyone's in the vehicle. You take off for Taruz and the Tower of Curies.
I want to know how we're all sitting in this car. Like, is it a 2-row, like classic? Is it 3-row? Are 3 of us squished into the back seat all together?
So here's the interesting thing about the way this car is set up. Because you guys are a crime syndicate and have very specific needs when it comes to vehicles, it's set up more like a limousine where there's a big open area in the middle and the seats are on the sides.
Cool.
So instead of alcohol in the bar, it's all candy, because this is the one that Annie usually takes.
They literally took the 20 minutes to take all the alcohol out and put in Skittles for Annie.
But they all melt together. The desert, or is this like really nicely climate controlled?
No, this is a very climate controlled interior.
Nice.
No. The symbol of syndicate spares no expense. Like, there's a reason you all live comfortably. So
Delta's making sure that the rig is following them as well.
Okay, what's your rig look like, actually?
A hunk of junk.
It's Bali?
So Delta doesn't want it to be like super stand out, so it just looks like your average kind of rig, like no shiny bells or whistles, not something worth like breaking into or damaging, really. You know, that kind of logic that some people have with their cars, where they're like, well, if I leave the interior messy as all hell, no one's gonna they're gonna think nothing's in here.
Yeah, that's
so
fair. It's too much work.
Delta they learned that real quick when they got here, that people have no respect for his stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Rashawn is the kind of place where your car will get robbed. So you just need to plan for it.
So Delta just made sure, like, no fancy flashy colors, nothing of note, just basic needs.
Okay, great. So, and this has its own, is it small enough to fit in the hover car, or will it have to follow?
It doesn't really say how big the rig is.
Okay, I'll let you determine that then.
It just says that I can call on it from anywhere. Like, I can call it towards me, as long as it's within 1,000 feet. Because, given mine, I've had a couple expansions on it, so it's a rejuvenation rig. So it releases like the healing poultice.
Ampoules, yeah.
That can restore hit points to my thing or my teammates. So it sends out micro drones. So it's big enough to hold drones, like little mini drones in it.
When you call in your rig, it sort of hovers up on top of the car and is that last person that has to ride on the roof.
Yeah.
And it attaches itself to the roof of the car.
Everyone would notice that Delta's kind of got like this scar at the back of their neck, and that's where their implant was input for their rig.
For the rig. Okay, great. Alrighty, so now everybody's packed, everybody's loaded in. Annie's got Skittles. And we're on our... Yeah, and Swedish Fish. We have to remember Swedish Fish is the best candy ever.
That's true.
Yes. So, and you guys take off for
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Hashtag.
Just a fan. Hashtag just a fan.
But yes, so, and you take off for Taruz. The desert sand splays out around you, with the speed that you're going. And let's see, I think I'm going to have everyone roll perception for this.
$15.
I forget. When I have expertise, is that my proficiency bonus doubled?
Sorry,
Yes.
say it when you... Yes. The answer is yes.
So I got 13 plus... where'd it go? Perception. 13 plus 10, so 23.
23. Oh, damn. Okay. So Nerix and Delta, you guys notice it. First, you realize that you're actually not going the normal speed. Your driver is going way faster than they should. Delta, with your 23, you realize that if you continue to travel at this speed, you're going to half the time that you get to Taruz. Because Rashawn and Taruz are about, and I'm using Earth time for the sake of time translation. As we all know, time zones are a pain in the butt. Yeah. So I'm just assume it's all Earth time, please. But yes, for the sake of everyone to understand. So normally it takes about 6 Earth hours to get to Taruz from Rashawn. And at the speed you're traveling at, it's only going to take you 3.
Are we stopping at the hovercraft site to investigate it, or are we going straight to Taruz?
Did you let the driver know to stop at the hovercraft site? You may want to do that before you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nerix would point out, like, oh, our ETA is going to be a lot earlier than we thought. We're going to get there pretty fast. We should let him know we want to stop at the site, yeah?
Yeah. You know on Uber when you edit the route?
Just immediately.
Data.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Thing.
So you feel the car take a hard right. All of you jerk, but you don't get flung. It's just that, when there's a sudden turn, you kind of do that. Yeah, that's kind of what happens as your driver starts reroutes to take you to the site. The desert sand continues to kick around you, and Delta, on your 23, you hear it almost before you see it. Does anybody know what a whale song sounds like? Yeah. So that's essentially what you hear across the desert sand. And as you travel towards the hovercraft, you see them. There's a group of giant sand whales that are native to Kahzen, known as Balir. And this school of Balir, actually, it's interesting because you don't understand how enormous they are until they're almost on top of you, and one of them literally just takes a leap right over your vehicle.
Delta's just
feel the shadow.
Like, Annie, look.
Yeah.
You want to see this? Just look out the windows.
Whoa.
And you can hear them singing as they go by. So if anyone wants to roll a nature check, you can.
What's nature?
With xenobiology.
Xenobiology is nature, is the equivalent. I have to keep remembering words. I understand how 4E players feel now.
17.
11.
17.
I rolled a dirty 20.
Dirty
26.
knows everything.
These guys are
26. Okay, so
18 plus 8 is 26,
15,
right?
Everybody who rolled above a 15 knows that Balir schools travel. They don't travel close to civilization. You don't normally see them near any of the plateaus because they don't like people. They don't like civilization. They don't like the sound of hover cars. The fact that they're this close means one of two things. Something has either displaced them, or it's mating season, which is the only other time they'll pass through the plateaus area. You would have to, you're not sure which one.
Can I use a sci-fi Google to look up when Balir mating season is on a 26 of xenobiology?
You access the sim and you find out that it is actually around Annie's birthday that Balir begin to travel for mating season.
I say directly to Annie, did you know your birthday is Balir mating season? That's another thing to celebrate if you want. You should make that your birthday theme.
Sand wheels.
I don't know what to do with that information.
You'll figure it out.
Okay.
You're older.
Are Balir, some animals during mating season get aggressive and territorial, whereas others don't care because they're simply trying to mate, and then they disregard their entire environment aside from that?
So
where are we in that spectrum of...
The Belier School passes you without notice, really with your copy of Space Google, which we will give another name because hashtag not sponsored. Spoogle! Yes!
You're welcome.
Spoogle it.
Spoogle it.
Spoogled it.
Spoogle.
So you find out that Belier it's like a combination of walrus and sea turtles, where they have very specific mating areas called, I believe they're called hatcheries. I have to look in the notes. But those areas are usually very hard to find. They're incredibly difficult, usually way in the desert. And they take the time there to raise their young. They give birth to live young. They raise their young and teach them how to breathe in the sand while they're there, and they don't actually leave there for a few months while this process is happening. But the problem is people who have tried to go to the hatcheries to observe them and to study them a bit further find that all of the males will attack them. Like, it's heavily guarded by the male Belier. And the male Belier and the female Belier that aren't pregnant, to protect the mothers and pregnant Belier that are in the hatchery itself. So.
Oh, we're in danger.
Only if you get near a hatchery, technically.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only danger you have is if a Belier suddenly falls on your vehicle, which you can tell they're very graceful. They're not going to do that. This is more whale watching for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nerix is gonna look at him and she's like, oh yeah. I think I was about when I was my 132nd birthday. We saw a couple of these came by. It just starts an irrelevant story about whales, just droning on in the background. But I think it was you.
As you start the story, the car speeds up. The Belier are left behind, and in the middle of the desert, you find yourself in front of a hover vehicle. It's abandoned. It looks like it's seen a sandstorm, which they're common in the nights of Kahzen. It's typically why people don't travel out into the desert at night. And the car stops in front of the abandoned vehicle, and you're free to investigate as you're at your leisure.
All right, Annie. So your mom wants you to get good at the family business. So first things first, you got to use your eyes. Let's get down and take a look at this.
Already.
Annie's already out
I
of
want
the
you to take
vehicle.
a look at it. And where'd you go?
Annie is stealthing down.
I have my recording unit, which is a piece of gear that I have attached to my glasses also, that's starting to do a full, it's doing the laser scan, panoramic across. I'm looking around, I'm like, who needs eyes when you got other things that are better than eyes? I don't know.
Sneak past
Just mumbling to
everybody
myself.
and just get in the hovercraft.
Oh God. Annie got in the hovercraft,
I want to sneak past everybody. I want to use stealth to sneak past everybody and get up at the hovercraft.
Roll for stealth, Annie. For
Natural 20.
the oh my God,
gosh.
Nobody sees you. You are the child that has somehow successfully managed to just whoop,
All
past
6 feet
everyone.
of you.
All 6 feet of you, somehow. Mechanics. That's what I want you to roll. Either mechanics or computers. Roll that for me, Lyn, for the scan.
Cool.
I'm gonna do mechanics.
Oh no,
Meanwhile,
you're
Nerix is still back
You're
in
hidden.
the car, lecturing
You're
on
in the car.
so it's very important to look before you leap. Make sure you look at a situation before you jump right into it.
Is Delta still in the vehicle?
22.
Delta wasn't.
22.
Delta's what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna heal the device.
That's my job.
I
I've now.
could analyze it, but that's
Can I
retcon
retcon that I've provided ear comm links to everyone in the car?
That's standard for any mission.
Great.
So, you've created them so they can't be hacked, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
But they are standard issue for everyone, so everyone has a form of communication in that way.
Cool.
But yes.
So Nerix hears in her ear as she's explaining to Annie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Make it
Nerix
worse.
is getting her bat. She's getting ready to go, but she's just talking. So she doesn't really notice that you're in there.
Pretty gone. So All right. So with what did you roll for the mechanics? Because sorry for the computers.
22 computers.
It was a 22 computer. So your scan shows that the vehicle has been abandoned. A topical scan. How invasive was the scan that you did? Is it just to what were you trying to see?
The first one with my recording unit was also as kind of like the equivalent of like a crime scene photo too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like generally topical. And then after I do like the 360 inside, I will actually like jack into the computer systems to look for like the black box essentially.
Okay. So the 360. So give me 1 second, and I will be right with you, Eddie, because I actually have stuff for you too. So when you do the 360, you find the vehicle's abandoned. There is no damage necessarily to the vehicle on the exterior, but you don't know about the interior yet. And it looks like it's been abandoned for a few hours now. Like this happened a little while ago.
And he's checking for traps.
Okay, Annie, you're gonna roll me investigation. Also, if you wanted to turn on the vehicle, since you somehow magically managed to sneak onto it, I will ask you to roll for mechanics.
Cool. So the first one, investigation, is 18.
Okay, so you, on an 18, your ears pick up the distinct sound of something beeping in the vehicle. It's a slow, methodical beep.
I relay that information to Edson immediately. So there's a slow, methodical beeping going on in here.
Can you mimic it for me in the earpiece?
Beep, 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 beep. Is that good enough?
Keep going. No, I'm kidding.
Keep going.
I only rolled an 11 for mechanics.
Okay, so on an 11, the vehicle does not immediately turn on for you. It recognizes you as a DiFranco, but will not turn on.
And it doesn't want to say hello.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe you should get out of the vehicle. That's just what you just slow beep. It just feels like
Delta is like, it could be an explosive.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you might want to get out of there.
Yeah, you want to
probably stand
those
back.
big long legs. Maybe just get up, just a few feet away, and we'll analyze it.
This is why I
He's
stay in the
gonna try
top.
to get out stealthy.
Okay. Well, as you're getting out, the beeping stops, and I will need everyone who's around the vehicle to roll a dex save.
Of course.
This is why Delta.
You guys,
stays in the car.
Delta was smart and plays not too much, because I know Bookish plays Phasma and stayed in the van.
19.
Nerix, did you exit or were you in the vehicle?
I got out of the car, but I didn't get in the hovercraft. I was probably just out on the
Okay,
sand.
so you were the farthest out, you said?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, cool. So you can roll with advantage.
Okay.
The two people who were the closest just have to roll a dex save with your dex mod. So what did
Cool.
you say you rolled, Annie?
19.
19. Okay, great. You so you managed to, as soon as you were told get out of the car, you listened and you didn't pull the thing of like, what does that mean? And stop and think about it. You're out of the car because you, at least that much, when somebody in the family tells you to do a thing, there's usually a reason. So
people know that Delta does not mince words. They're just gonna tell you the facts.
Yep. So Annie rolls out of the vehicle. Edson, what was your roll?
A 12.
Oh God. Okay. One moment. I have to roll something now. Well, I have to actually see how much damage that does. 1 second. Damage in DC. Yay. Annie, you have successfully rolled out of the way as the car explodes. And we're not talking your basic flammable explosion. We're not talking fire. This is a sci-fi. Why would we just be plain fire? This is electric. This is like an electric static situation that just explodes and hits everything around it. Thankfully, because of Edson's protections and fail-safes in your armored vehicle specifically, anyone who's inside the vehicle is fine. The driver and Delta are fine. Nerix, you get tingly feels a little like, am I having a heart attack? Or did my, you know, like you have a little bit of a moment like that, but you're okay. You're far enough away that it doesn't affect you as much. And then that leaves me with our poor Cybermancer, who is...
Is this damage? Because I will have a response to this, but I will describe it first.
I have to roll for damage. I have to find how much damage this does, so you have to give me a minute.
That's fine.
Because I was not expecting this, so I was like, you can tell how prepared I am. I was like, I had it as a failsafe, and now I'm like, oh no.
Listen, the 14-year-old decided to enter the vehicle before we scanned it.
Yeah.
I should have predicted child.
Yes. You know me.
Yes,
The two
I
experienced infiltrators who normally are in communications about scanning stuff were not listened to.
Oh god. All right, let's see. He is for grenade.
Narek started getting tactical, and Annie was like, that's not normal. I'm gonna go in.
No, we're not okay.
Me scanning from a distance before going in. I think I'll sneak past everyone. Which, to be fair, we should have predicted.
Yeah.
We have established this entire session that Annie is a walking disaster.
Yes, we're like, Annie's not great at this. Annie's still learning the tools of the trade. It tells me what it is, but it doesn't tell me how much damage it does, and I'm upsetty spaghetti about that. All right, there they are. There's my damage. There's my damage table. All right, it is okay. That's going to be 2d6 piercing, because in addition to electricity, this is called a fragmentation grenade. So the electric outpour was the first. The fragments of shrapnel and other miscellaneous nonsense that are flying from the vehicle are the second. So. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
It's an 11.
That's fine. I use my ability. I use my ability data shift. So sensing that the beeping has stopped, Annie jumped out of hovercraft. The description of data shift, starting at 6th level, you can use the energy from nearby electronic devices to react towards being harmed. Choose an unoccupied space within 5 feet of any electronic device or electrical wiring. I'm going behind the car. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to gain resistance to the incoming damage and instantly teleport to your chosen position. So I'm gonna just take half damage from that. So
yes, so
11 rounded down 5.
Yeah. So
we're
take
fine.
5. Yep, you take 5.
So
you pop out on the other side of the vehicle.
Yeah, what this looks like is like truly like data fragmentation shift, like in response to. So it looks like the static. I like blend into the static for a second as through the explosion, and then I'm on the other side of the vehicle. Deep sigh.
Deep sigh. Oh god.
Narek's just gonna go over to Annie and grab Annie by the ear, like pull
Yank
Annie down to Narek's level, like yank down and be like, "What did I tell you? You look first. You look first. If you go in first, somebody gets hurt. That's where they put the booby traps. You look. Use your eyeballs, like squeeze his little face."
That's what I did. I went inside and used my eyeballs.
From a distance, Annie.
Oh.
Yeah, you
From
made
a
Edson
distance
go all
first.
fuzzy and weird. Like, that did not have to happen.
You need an ampule.
My nose is bleeding.
Oh no! Delta, help! Edson's bleeding. No, I can't. I'm not even there. So
Like,
it's fine.
I didn't expect to have to heal someone this early in the
Put a tampon in it.
Oh my god!
It's fine.
Just duct tape.
Duct tape on the nose. Honestly, Edson, that matches
Classic.
Edson's vibe. It's fine.
Oh my god. Well, and on that note, you have found out what you needed to find out about the vehicle, which means that it was trapped. So whoever this is, how's Zarina plan for this vehicle to be investigated?
So this also means they know we're coming. Whatever location they're in, they're expecting us, which is going to make us a lot harder to get in there and surprise anybody. So we have to know that going forward when we make a plan.
I will
As you're getting into the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I will use mend on you when you get in, seeing the blood. So let me roll for that.
Thanks, Delta.
Yeah, no problem. Let's maybe not blow ourselves up so early in the day.
I love
Honestly,
how how some of the players are from like Jersey and some of the players are from New York.
It seems right. It's right.
Space, New Jersey, New York.
Mhm.
Correct.
Listen, as far as me blowing myself up in the day, this is actually not that bad. Normally happens much earlier.
It's true. This is a pretty good record for Edson.
Yeah.
Can I roll an investigation? Because I want to look around, like, the site of what, I mean, like, now that it's blown up, there's probably no evidence.
Yeah.
I would like to see if there's anything I could see, like, in the sand or whatever that might indicate a direction they've gone from there.
Sure, roll investigation for me. Would anyone like to help?
Back.
I do not have good.
I'm going to actually play back the recording that I took with my recording unit just now before everything blew up, so that way we have, like, also a record of what it looked like beforehand, so that we can trace, like kind of put the pieces together a little bit more coherently.
I rolled a 16.
Okay, great. So you notice a glinting in the sand, a gold hairpin.
Oh, just like picks it up, looks at it, like, this is some fancy shit. This looks like something that, I don't know, feels like something Cattleya would wear. Maybe I'm making assumptions here, but I don't know. She goes to put it in her hair, remembers that she has tentacles.
Okay. And Annie goes to put it in his hair.
Puts it in Annie's hair.
Till we find her.
It's as safe as anywhere else.
Maybe.
As you go to put it in your hair, Annie, Edson, I would like you to roll perception, please.
Perception. I'd also like to use Esper Sense in this.
Oh, that's actually what I wanted you to
too.
roll. I just wasn't sure if you had it. Esper Sense.
Oh, cool. I have Esper Sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Am I at will ability?
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
Esper
believe it's a
Sense.
prime talent.
Who's Will?
Yeah, it's actually a rank 1 talent,
Oh,
but
rank
I have
1,
it as
sorry,
an
yes.
at-will ability.
Gotcha. Amazing.
Which is great, because I have 2 talent slots, because it's Warlock.
Space Warlock.
Space Warlock. Yeah, but I use Esper Sense on the surroundings as well.
Okay.
Which is essentially detect magic.
Okay. You feel something coming off of the hairpin in Annie's hair.
Cool. A faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears the power's effects, and I learn its domain, if any. What's the vibe?
The vibe
I do a vibe check on
no,
Annie, hold on.
As you scan this particular piece of thing, you find that in the information that pops up, it does belong to Cattleya. It has her signature on it, and this is a very simple message ability, and it just says, "Help."
Well, that's not particularly informative, but that is Cattleya's, and it is a distress signal.
Is it?
She was
Which
probably
direction
trying
was
to.
it?
She couldn't give us anything else, like not just help.
When
Where'd you find it?
going back through the, is it like pointing in a direction, like a arrow?
If you look at
Was in the ground.
If you look at the hairpin itself, like where it was, Nerix, when you picked it up, it was pointing in the direction of Tarus, so you are going in the right direction. But keep in mind that you are also going to find, you also know that there's a Zarina weapons warehouse in Tarus, and you're going to get that location from your informant, Curies.
So we're definitely on the right track, though.
Looks like we're on the right track.
It's affirmation that you are on the right track, and that you are heading in the right direction.
Keep on keeping on, I guess.
Yep.
Can we send a message to the other team at some point, to Mendy and Varys?
Yeah, sure. You have internet, so
Yeah.
hop on Space Discord.
Yeah.
Spiscord.
Spacecord, thank you.
That's close to that.
Spacecord.
So let's call it the Sim.
which is the actual term for it.
I would call it Spizcord in my head.
Spizcord.
Oh
Call it
gosh.
Zipcord.
Yeah, when we're back in the vehicle on the way, I'll send them a message that's like, found a distress signal from Cattleya. We're prepared to be tailed.
Okay. Great. So
And
you
then-
sent that message.
I will, and I'm gonna say, Annie, you're lucky that I'm not telling them that you almost got exploded.
But I didn't.
Good
But
point.
you didn't, that's true. Fair point.
Now that everybody's in the vehicle again, the car takes off once again at this breakneck speed towards the city of Taruz and towards your informant, Curious. We will find out what you know, and when you get there after the break. So, alrighty. So we will see everybody in 15. Grab a drink, refill your drink actually, grab a snack if you need it, and we will see you soon.
Welcome to Guildhall. My name is Cece, and today we're making one of our signature cocktails, the Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer was named after both D&D and Stranger Things, for those of you who don't play as many board games. It uses a lychee liqueur, as well as a passion fruit liqueur, which makes it super approachable if you're going to a bar for the first time. To make the Mind Flayer, we're going to be using a vodka of your choice, a lychee liqueur, a combination of passion fruit liqueur and agave, which you can conveniently just combine into a bottle, as well as citrus blend, which we refrigerate because we're not monsters, but it is essentially just a combination of orange juice and grapefruit juice, half and half. And if you're looking for a mocktail alternative, in case you don't drink liquor, I would recommend using a little bit of basil syrup, a little bit of rose water, throw some orange juice in there, and then add ice, top it off with tonic water, and then you have a mocktail version of the Mind Flayer. This is great because it gives you the same flavor profiles as the Mind Flayer without the alcohol. All right, let's get into it. Cheers, guys.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your break. I hope your drink is refilled and you are ready for more shenanigans at the Pocket Dragon Pub. We are back with our wonderful team of crime syndicate people. I don't feel like heroes is appropriate, but you know, crime syndicate folks.
Anti-heroes.
Yeah.
Anti-heroes, yes, crime syndicate anti-heroes, who are very busy trying to save the daughter of the Dowager before a galactic gang war begins. So when we last left them, they were on their way to visit the Tower of Kiris, their informant. So as you enter the city of Taruz at bright light, you do slow down a bit, obviously, because now you're in metropolitan airspace.
And he puts their hood up over the clip, so it's hidden.
The windows are tinted, so there is an additional level of security. I don't think Edson would have abided by anything less.
Just so that he doesn't have to remember when they get out of the car.
Yes, exactly. You could still be perceived, but it's harder to do so. And the interesting thing about this is that as you pass through the city, you realize that you're actually rising in the air. Once you hit a specific point, the way that the car is moving, you realize it's moving in a spiral that is continually getting higher and higher and higher. So once you arrive there, give me one moment because I have notes. I always have notes. I'm that DM that writes notes, and then everyone's like, but just improv. And I'm like, no, sweet mother of God, no. But yes. So as the vehicle, it's very expertly controlled too. When compared to the way that it was moving when it was moving at velocity, whoever your driver is knows what they're doing because the spirals are very, very precisely calculated. This person knows, is very aware of how to maneuver this kind of vehicle. And you can see colorful tapestries below you and the architecture of the city, or the city-state of Taruz, as you continue to rise. Up until you come onto essentially the equivalent of a helicopter landing pad, that's where the hover car kind of stops and sits. And when you get out of the hover car, you realize you are in the tallest tower in the city of Taruz. Compared to the Tower of the Symbolist Syndicate, which is very dark and foreboding, this tower is almost at the opposite, in a way. It's a brilliant shade of marbled white. White marble is what this is made out of, which is distinctly different from even the general architecture of Taruz, which is more adobe, a little more hardy, a little bit more built for the desert. This is just flat out ostentatious, a flaunting of someone's wealth. And the driver, as you're getting out, tosses a bag to you. So anybody can roll to catch it.
What are we rolling?
You can, I'm gonna say athletics for this.
would be a 25.
23.
Ooh.
We're fighting for it.
Yeah.
I feel like Annie goes to catch it and the next goes yoink.
Yeah, that's literally what happens. Like Annie, it's like Annie's like, ooh, thing, and Nerix is like, not for you.
You don't know what's in that. Hang on.
Yeah. And as you catch the bag, you realize that it is a bag full of freshly picked pink. And the reason, if you know this, you would know this. Actually, no. I am going to ask you to roll to see if you know this. I want you to roll me. Let me take a look at the oldie character sheets, because again, new character sheet for this, or new format of character sheet. Anyway. Going to ask you to roll me. No, it would be lore. Let's go ahead and roll lore for that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a 13.
That bag smells like bowl.
Annie, go ahead and roll me a lore check as well.
Yeah, I think Nerix gonna be like, this is sort of a strange welcome gift.
22.
22. So Annie, you know this because you are Bull's brother, and you know how he negotiates. And this is specifically a gift for Curies. It's a form of payment for the information that you're about to receive.
Oh, I get it. This is what we give Curies for the. Yeah, that makes sense. This is Bull's. The accent this as payment for whatever Curies tells us.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Then I will not pocket any of that. Like, ties up the little bag and
was about to smoke it, was like rolling a joint. But anyway, all right. So you have your bag. You take it, and you begin to walk through this building. Okay. As you pass through the white marble balcony into an equally pristine foyer, you find yourself in what looks to be an observatory tower. If you look around you see mobiles of the sons of the 8th Nani and the other systems that are hanging from the ceiling, and they sort of tinkle softly with the desert, with the gentle desert wind that's kind of coming through this very open foyer. And at the center of the ceiling, if you look up, you can see a giant sun. And on the walls, you have celestial bodies, all painted in gold in this marble, like on this like sort of marbled surface. And of course, they have like the glaze over it, so it has a little bit of a shine to it on top of that. So you're just like, dear God, what's happening here? And after you pass, after you pass through this room, also, side note, you notice that there are plants everywhere hanging from the ceiling. And for, this is a very ostentatious show of wealth, because to grow and cultivate plants successfully here in Kahzen is incredibly difficult. So that's kind of one of the ways you show off how well off you are. You show off like plants in whatever form. The amount of plants here alone shows you that this is someone who is very, very well off. And you have all kinds of you have succulents, you have the little raindrop succulents, you have things that are straight up flowers that are just in blossom, very carefully tended, very carefully, clipped, things like that. And after you pass through this area that's very much meant to make an impression on visitors, you enter another room, and you find that here, in that same huge sun has moved from the ceiling down to the eastern wall. A bed of luxurious silk pillows and all manner of deep-hued jewel tones are spilled about the floor. Golden light emanates from the figure sitting on the pillows. Large and imposing, a Barite Batera stares down at you. A hint of a smirk touches his lips as he notices your colors, and his nose lifts, as if he scented the pink that you have, Nerix. He lifts a claw, carefully, as you approach and says to you, as several purple and black clad soldiers charge into the room, to the victor go the spoils.
Of course.
Yep. So roll initiative.
Classic.
Right
I
as
was like,
Nerys
I
is about to ask
should've-
something like, hey, whoops.
Yeah, right.
I should have had my motion sensor going this whole time.
I know, because we got in, I was like, are we concerned that there are suns everywhere? I feel like that's a bad sign.
Yeah, that was instant concern.
There's, why is
dirty
Dex
20.
Dirty 20. Okay, great. Hold on, I gotta write this down.
Dirty 20 for me as well.
Okay, so I need you
That's
guys
my
to roll a
initiative
Dex.
3, right?
What's your Dex, Bex and Lyn?
4.
2.
Okay, Annie's going first. And then Lyn with a 20.
11.
Good. Got Bookish with an 11.
I would like to say
So-
that I activated my motion sensor right as this happened, which is why my initiative is so high.
So yeah, so when you activated your motion sensor, it lit up like a Christmas tree with
Mhm.
these soldiers, and you had a moment of oh fuck, and then it was oh gotta fight, you know.
Yeah, it was a little fast. They were standing very still before my motion
Yes.
sensor went off.
You don't know they could also have a disruptor with them.
That's
So-
true.
Or whatever. There's another word for it.
A sensor jammer.
Sensory jammer,
Sensory
yeah,
jammer.
sensory
I also
jammer.
have one of those too.
Yes. All right. So Annie, you're the first to. What's our marching order? Who was standing where so that I can position you properly?
Delta was in the back, probably.
I was also
So
probably in the
Delta will
back.
remain back here. You guys are in the same position. Where's Nerys?
Probably up next to Annie, be my guess.
Okay, so you guys will. I'm going to put you guys both in the front. I'm going to presume you
Yeah.
guys are both in the front here. All right. So Annie, you're first up. What would you like to do?
My instinct is to throw a stun grenade and hide.
Okay. So you're going to throw a stun grenade in which direction? Because the soldiers haven't moved yet. So who are you stunning?
Directly at the guy who just showed his hand way too early.
The Barite Batera?
The Byrite Batera.
So just as an FYI, a Batera looks like a dragon. You can't really see him
Does.
clearly on screen. I'm going to post the picture in Discord so that you guys have it.
Thank
In,
you.
in the blurriness, he looks kind of like Mushu.
Voiced by Eddie Murphy. Amazing.
Wow, our budget for this has really gone up.
Skyrocketed.
Man, if that was the case, everybody'd be getting paid,
Nah,
including me. But all right.
I'm gonna throw a stun grenade at Mushu because he could have lured us in, but no, he just had to go right on the attack. So here we go. And then I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna
Okay, great. So you're
Hide.
gonna hide. That's what he looks like in real
let me
life.
go back to Discord.
All right, stun grenade. I think it just immobilizes him, correct? Is that what it does? Where's my book? Stun grenade, special, thrown special. It doesn't do any damage. It just, I believe it incapacitates the enemy for a turn, so he can't do anything for a turn, which is fine.
I still don't see Mushu.
Yeah, the grenade deals no damage. However, any target. Oh, he has to roll a dex save, actually. Versus the saving throw versus the grenade on a DC 13 Constitution. So let me see. Let me see if he's before you throw that grenade. Let me make sure he's close enough because H square is 5 feet or 10 feet. Jay.
It looks like 5 based on our
Okay,
token
so it's
sizes.
5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, just enough. Just enough. Just enough. I just want to double check before. I didn't want you to waste an item and then it doesn't reach him.
Fair.
So it does. It hits him, and I believe. Let me pull him up. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll dex for him. Yeah, he's incapacitated for a turn.
He also,
Definitely
if
failed.
failed,
He rolled a
also
2.
a DC con save.
Okay. Yes, so fails their dex versus this grenade must then make a DC 13 con save. You're right. Or become stunned until the end of their next turn. So that's step 2. He failed his dex. We're going to have a fun time with that. All right. Ooh, he failed that too. He is stunned for a turn.
Wow.
I can't get up to him before I can't get up to him with my movement, can I?
How much
Instead of
what's your
hiding.
movement?
My movement is, where do I even see that?
Probably 30.
30, base speed 30.
30 feet? Okay, so yeah, you can definitely get up
6
to him.
squares.
You threw the grenade, and it was 20 feet at least.
Oh,
So yeah,
then I'll just finish out this turn since he's stunned and
Mhm.
get up there. And then I'm gonna use my wrist blades and go straight for joints in the legs so that if he does
Okay.
get unstunned, it's harder to move.
Okay, so
Wait,
you're
is
going.
throwing is your action?
Throwing was your action. That's what I was going to say.
Oh,
like, that
sorry,
You've
this was
already
my-
used your action.
Right, I can use
So-
my bonus action to dash,
You can
engage, or
offhand.
hide.
Or offhand
so-
attack?
If I offhand attack, can I still use my my death strike?
I need to check something on Death Strike. See class features.
Death Strike is the sneak attack, and I don't know
Yeah.
if you would be
No, I
able
don't
to
think
do
you
that
can.
on
Only on
offhand.
attack.
I
Got
don't.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think not on your offhand. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Then I want to use my uncanny or my cunning action to hide underneath the big old dragon that's incapacitated.
Okay. Hide underneath the big old dragon, and as you do that, you hear. I'm gonna move him. Are you moving him, Jay, or is it me? Okay, we're gonna move him here. Yeah, I moved him. It's all right. I moved him. Don't worry about it. I didn't know what was happening for a minute, but yeah, I moved him. You're technically underneath the dragon. It's just you're on top of the dragon for this. But as you do that, you hear in a very strained voice that the following. You hear, it's not what you think, because you stunned him, so he's not doing so great in terms of movement.
What is it then?
He kind of grunts because he can't say anything else. That was like it. That's what he's got. So, but yes, all right, and that moves. That ends your turn. We're gonna move into Lyn. What is Edson gonna do?
Edson just goes, "Oh, fucking course," and just lines up. If you're playing Space Warlock, use Space Eldritch Blast. Sprite Beam. Yeah. So while this happens, you see that like he kind of shakes off a little bit, and then like cracking his neck. For it,
Oh, man.
the
Okay.
circuits come to life again as the sprite beam like formulates from their hands, and you kind of see like a snake-like pattern for the sprite beam as it launches.
Okay.
As
Sorry, I just
digital
imagined the
code.
dragon from Overwatch. Like
oh yeah,
that-
pretty
that
much,
one-
yeah.
that one special.
Hanzo's like
Yes,
or like Genji
Hanzo's
really,
thing.
or either.
Mhm.
Probably more Genji in this case.
God, okay.
Yeah, kind of just like launches it out. So it's like
Mhm.
a snake made out of code. I have 2 beams, so I think I'll just try and hit the one.
Okay,
I guess I'll
go
still
ahead
hit
and,
the one
roll to
closest
attack.
to us, like in the bottom left quadrant. So I'll use both beams on that one. First one is a natural 20 to hit.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Natural 20.
And then the second one is 16 plus 8, which is
16
24
also
to
a
hit.
ridiculous number, yeah. 20 those let me go ahead and I'm almost positive those hit. Which ones are you aiming at?
Just the one in the bottom left.
Bottom left,
Yeah,
this guy? So both of them at
one
him.
guy. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to take them out in as close to one go as I can. So we're
Okay.
doing double the die rolled, right?
Yes, double the damage die for the sprite beam, which
Cool. So
it does
that's
hit.
the first beam.
And then the second one also hits. So you're gonna roll
Cool.
damage for both.
Cool.
Do I have to roll anything? Is there any dex saves or anything involved?
Nope, it's essentially Eldritch Blast, so
Okay.
it's just straight up damage. So the first roll was a 4 times 2, so the first hit will be 8 points of force damage, and then the second roll is 4 points of damage as well. So 8 plus 4 is 12 points total of force damage.
Okay,
on
great.
that one.
Nice. So as you do this snake made of code hits the soldier who is getting ready to rush you and knocks him back into the column. And it knocks him back hard enough to actually crack the column a little bit. Not like full on compromise the stability of the column, but enough to chip a little bit of the marble off of it.
Marble is not a particularly strong material.
No, it is not. It's probably not
that's
probably
actually in
bad,
character
but-
as Edson. He actually is a little angry about it.
Great. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I think I'll just kind of go to the right 10 feet, just so I'm not as grouped up as close to everyone.
Okay, so to the right
yeah.
10 feet. So
Yeah,
here,
so
this
right
column.
2 squares. Yeah, by that
Okay,
column.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you are now by a column. It does count as partial cover if you choose to hide behind it. Just FYI.
Cool. I don't have an action to hide, so that is my turn.
Just something to keep in mind. I'm that DM who's like, hey, here's your advantage here because
Yes,
I like
appreciate it.
my players living. So anyway, Bookish, that brings us to you. What's Delta doing?
Delta not wanting to use up their resources too quickly, just flicks out their metal baton and just prepares if any of them come closer to them just to whack them in the face. So readying an action.
Okay, so you're readying an action. Are you going to use your movement at all?
Nah.
Okay, so you're just going to stay there with your little baton, come at me, bro. come for
Yep,
the smoke.
I will put the combat in combat medic, thank you very much, but if you come first, actually.
But you have to hit me first.
I'm trying
Got
to
it.
assess the situation, you know?
Gotcha. Okay, so you're just chilling there. That wraps your turn. Kristin, you're up with Nerix. What's Nerix doing?
Nerix is immediately two-weapon fighting. And I want to go for... So I'm dual wielding with my combat knives and my short blade, so I need to get up to somebody to hit him. Well, I guess I could throw the combat knives first.
You could use you can use your movement. You've got this guy right here. You've got
Right. I was thinking actually the back right.
this guy. Okay.
Yeah, I can't use my combat knives in melee, right? I have to throw them, or
No,
can
you
I...
can use them in melee.
You can use
You're a
it in
dagger.
melee.
Then
Yeah.
I want to use my movement to get to the guy in the back right, by that
Okay.
back column.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times 5, 40 feet of movement. Is that correct?
No, that's
It's 20,
4 times
'cause these are
20 feet
5.
of movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
20. So you have 20 feet of movement. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So
4 here. That's 4 5-foot squares. So
4 5-foot squares is
20 feet.
20 feet of movement. So you're gonna get up here with the 30, and then you have
Kristin has 35
at
feet.
35.
35. So that will put you right there. Great.
Mhm. And so I will hit. So I'll use my base action to slice him with my short blade.
Okay.
Which is
Roll to
a
attack, please.
whoa! That's a nat 20 plus my 7.
Amazing. So yeah, you nail this guy with all the professionalism of years and years and years of this profession. You just
like, "Here we
expertly
go."
go screw your ligaments and
Yeah.
proceed to
Kristin,
Cut.
do you get something special when you roll a crit on someone?
Yeah, I do.
you also double the damage die. So
Yeah, I think that's what I have it written somewhere. Sorry, first rogue. I mean,
I've got
specialist.
your specialist. It's a specialist, okay? Different gang.
No, I only have. I actually don't know.
It
This
should
is
be
in
like
my
your
brain.
your assassin type, I think we put it in your
The only class feature I
features.
have is Vital Strike.
Yeah, Vital Strike and Death Strike though, because Death Strike I think you can actually
Death
use.
Strike is your sneak attack bonus.
Oh, that's your
and
sneak
then
attack.
Vital Strike gave you. I know it made
It's
so you
a
can
Vital
get a
Strike
crit
lets
on a
me
19
hit
or
against
20.
any hit against a surprised creature is critical.
Oh, these aren't surprised. They're coming towards
Yeah.
you. They knew you were here.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so it's just a good hit.
just a good
so I
solid
can do
F you. All right.
1d6 plus 4.
Mhm.
That would be a 6. Damn, I'm never getting rid of it.
Wow.
So that's 10 piercing damage.
That's actually
Okay,
critical,
10
so that'd be.
piercing.
You rolled
20.
a 6, so that'll be a total of 20. 6
Yeah.
times 2
Okay,
plus
great.
4.
So a nice little,
so that-
just a shoop, slash.
So that 20 damage total, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. That's what I wanted to know.
And then for my bonus action, I'm trying to decide, do I hit him again or do I hide in those pillows? I'm pretty squishy, so I'll probably join Annie if I can use my bonus action to just hide in the pillows next to
Well,
me. Is that too far?
You'd have
I
to
was gonna-
disengage.
Yeah, you'd have to disengage, but I will say I will give you this bit of narrative content to help with your decision. With all your years of experience being an assassin, being in the combat trade, and working for the DiFranco family, you know exactly where to strike this person to incapacitate them, or at least attempt to. The caveat is that this person is a trained soldier, so incapacitating them that quickly is not as likely. However, you do land a very deep strike in their midsection, and you do cause them to double over and back up a little bit from you. Not enough to be a whole square, but like a couple steps back. He's not looking good.
All right. In that case, I'll use my combat knives to just do like another hit for my bonus action.
An offhand swipe, okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll to attack.
That would be a 25 to hit.
Oh yeah, that definitely hits.
Okay. And it only does, what is this one? Has 1d4 plus 4, so it does. That'd be 6 damage.
6 damage.
Piercing.
Kristin, kicking butt and taking names.
She just likes to.
To be fair, we actually
slice.
don't have any names to take. Yes, we don't have any names.
You have to
there.
ask.
You have to ask for the names. All right, yeah, this dude is you come at him once and then twice. You see, like he's actually lost the mobility. You got him right in the ligament of the arm, so he's lost the mobility in one of his arms.
Yeah, she
he's,
sort of
like,
cracked her neck
actually-
afterwards a little bit, like, oh my god.
But yeah, and that's the state in which you leave this person.
Okay.
He's still gonna fight. He didn't like
Right.
go, oh god, but he knows he can't move that arm anymore. So all right, and that's your turn. So back to the top of the order. Bex, what are you doing?
I'm gonna get out from hiding. Actually, no, I'm just gonna climb up onto the dragon.
You can't do crap about it. I believe he's stunned for this turn, correct?
Yes.
So
Wait, hold on, you said, it's not what we think, so what is it? Can you talk yet? Can you talk
you
without
know-
hurting me?
So like when the Tin Man needs oil because he's like frozen in place.
I have
That's
pink
kind
for
of
you.
that's kind of what you've done here, Annie.
He's on him and he's like, I have pink for you if you
He's
don't
trying-
hurt
he's
me
like,
and you tell me what you mean
"Stop.
when you get unstunned.
Can't talk. Frozen.
Okay,
Stunned.
sorry.
Who did this?
I know.
I'm telling your brother.
That's fair.
So that's pretty much all you get out of him. He can't really respond to you well because you've stunned him. So
Yep, I think I'm gonna hold any further action. Like, if he tries to hit me, I'm gonna block it. I'm gonna do any sort of thing to not get hit.
right.
But I'm gonna wait for him to be released.
To be able to speak. Oh, Annie. Actually, yes, you're right. You know what I forgot to do? Roll for the soldiers. So dumb. They're just there for you to beat up. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, into it.
That'd be kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
I mean, that truly
Fair,
would be
like-
not what we think.
This
Truly.
would really be like The
Right.
Sim. They all just fade out and they're like, thank you for playing. You have gotten several tickets to the arcade.
Honestly, that's
Man, I
what
should've
Edson
thought of-
does to train.
Edson has set up one of those in the tower.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Oh crap. Okay, I've got to fit these guys in because they had 2 of them rolled high and one guy I'm gonna assume that's the guy Narek stabbed the crap out of. Rolled an 8. So
Oh, you just got a little hibachi'd. He's fine.
He got a little hibachi.
you just do the little knife thing, like ching ching ching. The sounds.
Hibachi
We're
is
like,
my
ching,
drag
ching,
name.
Little hibachi.
Speaking of a little hibachi, I'm gonna need you, sir, to not eat my laptop today. My cat's on the counter. No.
Petition to rename your cat Hibachi.
Yes.
Hibachi. Instead of Hanuman, it's hibachi now. Okay, so I've got 1 soldier coming in after. He rolled a 19, so he's gonna come in right after Lyn, and then I've got the other guy with a 15. I super duper don't care if you know what the rolls are, so if you can't tell. So that guy, 2 of them before Bookish. And then the last guy is actually last one. Okay, great. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. That's not for chewing. Okay. All right, cool. So they're on my list now. And then Lyn, you just went, right? Is that correct? Or no, you haven't gone yet.
No.
Bex just went.
Mhm.
And now it's your turn.
Nice. Yeah, at this point, the circuitry and like the static that y'all have felt before like starts coalescing around me a little bit more.
Oh boy.
A little bit more of like a crazed look in Edson's eyes. Slightly less wispy of a guy and more of an ominous wisp of a guy.
Okay. I'm a little bit frightened here.
Yeah, so like electricity and code is just like kind of coalescing around them. And are the soldiers in cover, or have they gone around the column stuff where they're not?
They've gone around the columns. They were openly trying to engage you in combat, but you could tell that like they were trying to catch you off guard by basically pouncing on you immediately.
I see.
Upon entry.
Got it. Okay. Oh, they're all so far apart from each other. That's really annoying.
Tactics, man.
Yeah, I know. Dang, it's almost as if you planned this. Yeah, so that for the same guy, instead of going for ye old sprite beam, as the code starts like manifesting more around me, I'm going to use electric surge.
Ooh,
on the one that I hit already, which is
this guy.
So now it's like a spike of like surging electricity. I launch it at that soldier. It's still a range attack roll, so I'll roll to hit. I'll use my lightning die for this.
Ooh, lightning die, fancy.
That is a dirty 20 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And then so that'll be 2d8 lightning damage.
Okay, don't have to roll anything. It just does the damage, correct?
Yes, it is just on a hit. So that is 6 points of lightning damage.
Okay.
And I mean they're not in cover, but if they were in cover, they would use it.
Okay, great. So you and that's everything that it does, correct? Doesn't do any additional damage?
Nope, just that lightning damage.
Great. So
yep, that's it.
Okay, so the closest person to you is actually Delta. So Delta, calmly holding her baton like she's gonna, or their baton like they're gonna beat someone to death with it, watches as lightning shoots across the room and hits the soldier that Ed's been attacking, and basically electrocutes them, and kind of it does stun them. They take a couple steps back and they sort of use the pole, like the column, to regain their balance, the chipped column, and square up again. But yeah, you got him. He's not looking good either.
Yeah, and then Edson just goes, "Stand down if you know what's good for you."
Ooh, okay.
But it comes out
Right.
like a little bit glitched. Add that in post.
So it sounds like when Anonymous is talking, it's like that glitchy sort of, yeah.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So now it's the soldier's turn, who I finally remembered to roll for. Whoops. Can you tell
They
I just
used all
wanted
their
you guys
actions to
win?
be ominous.
That's what it was. Yes. Alrighty. So the one that hasn't been attacked yet. Let's see how far. Actually, no. No, sorry. I'm trying to remember who goes first. And this guy's my 8. This guy. Okay, yeah, it is going to be this guy. So 6. He is going to come after our wonderful Delta, because Delta hasn't done anything, but he can only get so close.
She's just, or they're just like, I will whack you.
Oh God. Well, unfortunately for you, this particular soldier has a ranged weapon, so he is going to try to attack you.
Just throws the
They have something called a short rifle. So let me just pop that up so I know what to roll for. Alrighty, we're gonna roll to hit, see what happens. So you see this soldier runs with like the gun readied. You can tell this is someone who's seen battle before. This isn't someone who's inexperienced. This is definitely mercenary style, at least a mercenary if nothing else. He lifts the gun and fires it at and squares up and tries to fire it at you. That's a 17 to hit. Does it though? I believe that does.
Yes, there's nodding
Yes.
of yes, it hits.
The nod. I can't. I'm looking at the map. I'm sorry. I can't see the nodding. But yes. So you are hit. Let me roll for damage. Poor Delta, man. Delta, you gotta heal yourself now. All right.
It comes with the job. You get used to
Yeah.
it.
Actually, yeah. No, it's not a D4. It's a D8. Oof. Okay. Piercing. So it's gonna be piercing damage. It's a 6 and a +2, so it's a 8 points of damage to you, Delta. Of piercing damage.
I have ampules.
You're currently on a dragon. You froze, Annie. That's gonna be a wild ride. Okay. So that's his turn. He's used his movement as action. There's got no bonus actions, so we're not going to worry about that. And then now it brings us to the second soldier's turn, who really, they have beef. They have beef with Ed. They really do. So they're going to get in closer. But seeing that their other buddy has engaged with Delta, they're going to ignore Delta. So that's 1, 2, 3. They're going to get right up to you, Ed.
Leave Edson alone.
They're coming for Ed. This is what I was looking for. They have something called a long blade, and they're going to attack you with that. I
Neat.
believe, yeah, they're within range. So,
Question, was there time in the vehicle on the way here long enough to have taken a short rest?
I would say yes, because it's about 3 hours, and a short
Cool.
rest is about that long, or maybe a little
It's
bit
like
longer.
an
It's
hour.
fine.
I don't actually remember.
Yeah, we'll just say it's 2 hours for the purposes of this. It's my game. I'm the DM. So if anybody else wants to get mad about how exactly long a short rest
Cool,
is,
I just wanted
you're in
to
the wrong
know
world.
if
So
I regained one of my features or not. That's fine.
that's fine.
Okay.
It is a short rest. We'll count it as a short rest.
Neat.
Yeah. Everybody else who's like, that's not a short rest, can just go die angry about it in a corner. Anyway, so we won't. It's too late now. It's done. We'll fix it in post. I'm gonna roll to hit. Ooh, okay. And then that's an 11 plus 4, so that's a 15 to hit.
That hits. I'm
Okay.
squishy.
Squish! The squish! Ooh, okay. They're using, you got lucky, they're using using it one-handed, so it's just 1d8 plus 2 slashing. So, oof, even luckier. 3 points of damage.
Incredible.
So the way I'm gonna flavor this is basically, he was so shaken up by the previous attacks that he's just acting on pure instinct, and in doing so, he does hit you because that's what he's trained to do. But he doesn't. It's a very surface, shallow cut. Like he gets part of your coat and cuts it open, and that's it. You know.
In a slightly sing-songy voice, I just go, "You're gonna regret that."
Oh God! Alrighty, and that brings us to Delta.
They want to fight. Delta's gonna give them a fight, and they are going to use. Well, they're gonna close the distance with the one that shot at them.
Okay.
And smack him with the baton.
Okay, so you're gonna get up here, basically here, and then smack him with the baton. So go ahead and roll to hit.
18.
That definitely hits.
With 5 damage.
Okay, big 5, big damage, big damage.
Big 5. Gotta see which one of these is a bonus action. Yeah, I didn't go. Oh, that's what I should have done first. Oh well, they'll do it afterwards.
Okay.
They are going to imbue their weapon with an electric energy with their voltic charge.
Okay, so your weapon begins to crackle with an electric energy. You can tell that that Delta's really gotten angry now.
This is my favorite shirt, and you shot me.
There is a hole in your favorite shirt. That's true. All right, and is that going to be your turn, or is there something else? Great. So we left Delta with their baton.
Yep.
Yeah. Great, and use the movement. So that moves us into Nerix. Nerix, what are we doing? How's it going? How's the hibachi happening?
Nerix wants to keep hibachiing. So wanna, it's combat just started. It's our first combat of the day. So it's sort of like she's like gonna switch out. She's like, all right, I use this weapon. Let's grab this one. Reaches out for her saber.
God.
And so we're gonna attack with a saber.
Okay, roll to attack.
Shish kebab.
Yeah. It's a 14 plus. That'd be a 21 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay. So I'm gonna do 1d8 plus 4 damage.
Oh boy. Okay.
Nope, that's okay. Be a 7 plus 4, so that's 11 slashing damage.
Okay, 11 slashing.
Yeah.
One moment, please. Okay, so as you expertly switching out weapons with that experience of someone who has done this for a living far too long, you swap from your blades spiral as you swap from knife to saber, and you cut this guy right across the shoulder, like from one side of the shoulder to down to his waist, and it's a deep, precise cut. And you knock him down to one knee. He falls to a knee because he cannot. That's not a cut that you recover from easily. So, is there anything else that you'd like to do?
Let's see. Well, I can't do it. I don't get another attack with my bonus action, right? Or do I? Do I get? How many?
You do an offhand.
Yeah, you can do an offhand, but that's
because you have 2 weapon fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. Which means I can use it. Okay. Yeah, then I'd do an offhand with probably.
It'd have to be your knife.
Yeah, it'd have to be my combat knife. Okay, so just got the little guy out again. It's literally just like shoot.
Yeah, that basically it's just nothing but knives. Like you just see like a wild array of blades happening over where Nerix is.
Right, and they're like, they're futuristic blades. They like glow or whatever, but like, I wanted to still make like zing zing sounds.
That's fine.
All right.
They make their sounds. Like, you can have like metal blades if you wanted. Like, I don't mind. They're futuristic to me.
That was a nat 20 plus. That's a 27 to hit.
Okay.
It's a crit to hit, dude.
Describe to me how you finish this soldier.
So, this is sort of like, I guess it's like her warm up, right? She's like, all right, we grab one with this, we get one with this, we get one with this, we go back to this one. Like, she's sort of going through her motions.
Yes.
And between each slash, one of like a little bit of flavor that I like to have is between each slash, she sort of flicks the knife so that any blood or anything that's off it just kind of over on the wall.
It's all over the marble.
Yeah, like just like, because when she resheathes them, like, it's gross if they're covered in blood. And she's learned from hundreds of years of this. You just like clean as you go. Cleaning as you go is the way to go. So she's done. She got the arm thing, and she just finished her last big saber slash, and then she sort of like, it is like he's doubled over, and like they come kind of face to face, and she sort of looks at him. And this is a thing that she does. She likes to collect one little trinket from anyone that she kills. So she reaches in, she grabs her little Hirsch combat knife, and she sort of looks him right in the eyes and goes right up under the chin, just like a little thunk. And when it's in there, she reaches up and takes his earring.
Oh my god, and pulls it out, and the soldier falls over.
She goes, thank you.
So you do all this, the soldier just collapses to the ground lifeless. That dude is down and gone. So we're gonna go ahead and mark him as dead, or unalived, if you will.
Deaded. Kill number 1.
Yeah.
You always remember your first of the day.
I'm gonna actually just take him off the board. There's a way to mark him dead, but I'm not about to figure that out on Foundry, so there you go. Alrighty, so that brings us back to the top of the round with Bex. All right, Bex, what are we doing? What's going on?
Is the dragon guy free yet?
Yes, he is. And he's shaken off the effects of the stun, but like you can tell, and he does shake it off, and it's vigorous, but it's not. He's not trying to shake you off. He's just trying to bring feelings back to his limbs, if that makes sense.
And noting that, I'm not gonna make any more threats or anything. I'm actually gonna stay on him because
he's offended. Like, I just want you to know, like he's like, you know how like somebody is just offended, like, how dare you treat me this way, but you can't. He's not like being violent about it. He's just, you can tell he's just a little offended.
I can't get down right now because I'm a little scared. You're really tall.
Oh god. The Batera snorts.
It's actually entirely because it's collateral. Like, nobody can shoot at him if he's on the big boss.
Yes. Well, the Batera snorts, very offended, and is just like, if this is how you DiFrancos treat all of your allies, I refuse to.
Is this how you treat your allies?
The Batera like looks at you like with a giant golden eye and says, obviously you're not your brother, or you would know what's happening.
Yeah.
Just hold on and shut up, little one.
Okay.
It's like, this Patera's head is like done with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to do from your vantage point?
I'm gonna say through the earpiece. Kahzen says that it's not what we think.
Kiris, get it right. Good grief.
Sorry, I've only seen it in writing.
Having words with your brother.
That's fair.
Like, somehow this is all gonna end up on Bull's desk, and he's just gonna. Oh god.
Out of the field.
Yes. Sorry. I also read that and the fact that marble is porous, and now I can't. Thank you, Lyn. Thank you. You're muted. So...
That marble's gonna be stained and gross. Forever.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have attacked us. They should have thought about that before they had unfinished marble.
Well, it's clear. I think, like, in the earpiece, it's like, it's clearly an ambush for all of us.
Yeah,
The contact included.
So, Annie, is that all you'd like to do for your turn?
I'm gonna shoot one of the soldiers.
Okay. Roll to attack.
Natural 20. I don't care what I add.
Beautiful. Double the damage die. That definitely hits. I'm gonna say you fire at the guy right in front of Delta because Delta is just all upsetty spaghetti and you don't like that.
Yeah.
So,
I don't like it when my people are upsetty spaghetti.
yes.
What am I rolling, a d6? Or
Yes. I believe for your
4.
crossbow. Yeah. So 4, 8. You're gonna do 8 points of damage.
8 points of damage.
Okay. Hold on, a calculator is my best friend because I can't math. Quickly, anyway, I can. Okay, great. We move on from Annie to Ed. All right, Ed.
Yeah. Let's be cinematic, why don't we? So
okay.
after the snarling, there's like all my circuitry is just glowing at this point, and has gone a little bit feral with it. Just like,
Okay.
there's like a grim smile now of like both like the circuitry and like Edson themselves. As my bonus action, I'm going to use phase shift to teleport, but what that looks like is just like kind of like glitches out in reality as though it were like a hologram, and then I'm going to teleport like 30 what is it, 30 feet in the opposite direction, or as far as I can get.
Okay.
Like, direct,
So
like
where- behind him? So like here?
Yeah, but 30 feet, so I'm at range. So 5,
Okay,
10,
so-
so kind of on the left side of the square rug platform thing.
Here? Yeah.
Let's
There?
go one square diagonal left from there.
There.
Sure, yeah. I do that so that I just like completely phase out of the soldier sight as my bonus action. I'll
Okay.
put it down as my spell slot, and then as my action, I will use Dark Conduit, which is a prime talent. So I create a dark zone of disruptive energy around the target. It is a ranged attack, so I'm still
Okay.
going to roll to hit. Let's see if I hit. First
Cool.
before I
Let's
say anything
see.
else.
It's gonna be interesting to see how this particular talent works.
That is another dirty 20.
Amazing. So that definitely hits.
So what that looks like is as I disappear in like as kind of like glitch space, like dark like glitch code like starts enveloping like Missing No from Pokemon starts enveloping
Oh
the
my
soldier,
god.
and then he takes 2d8 necrotic damage.
2d8. So let me know how much that is going to be.
An 8 on the first, and then 12 points of necrotic damage.
12 points of necrotic damage. Okay.
And cannot regain hit points.
Okay. Cannot regain hit points. That was
So like,
that.
so it's like the feeling of your life force being sucked out of you through the
Okay.
code that has just like it's like it starts slow and then suddenly is like a sharp point as it like digs into the soldier's life force. I'm toying with this guy now.
Yeah. He's definitely he is not doing so hot.
At this point, I'm just like the psychological torture of this soldier.
Now it's like,
That's like
now
you
it's
messed
like,
with
dude.
the wrong one.
So yeah, this soldier is not looking good at all. He's also kind of like he's looking pretty crappy, you know.
And just like the whisper in the head that's just like, I think you should stand down.
And you actually see the soldier try to look for you and like find you back, like puffing and trying to regain themselves. And can they respond in kind, or are they unable to respond to your statement in their head?
You can respond. I mean, this is for flavor, essentially using mental missive, even though they don't have the
Okay.
action for it.
You can respond
but
to this message.
You can respond to
You
this
can
message.
respond to this message.
It's
The way
it's
that
just
I'll
more of a
flavor it is
flavor thing. Yeah.
okay. So then the way that I'll say it is like this: he locks eyes with you, and you can tell that he for whatever reason, you can't discern it right now without like an insight check to look deeper. He is not going to give up until he's dead.
Unfortunate for you.
Yeah. Like, he's determined. So that guy's not looking great. Is that everything that you'd like to do in your turn?
Yes, that is everything.
Okay. Amazing. So that brings us to the soldier's turn. Yay! All right. So one of them is dead. That was the stabbity guy. That guy, I should cross him out on the list. There. And then that brings us to this guy who is attacking Delta. Delta. Oh no. So this guy has a little feature that he's going to use called
I forgot to use
Second
Death
Wind.
Strike on that guy.
Well, now you can remember for next time.
Now I can remember for next time. Oops.
Yes. But so he's a little feature called Second Wind, and you're going to need it because that's his bonus action, and he regains 20 hit points. So that guy's back up to full, and he just sort of, the way that I'm going to flavor this is he sort of pulls like a little bit of a Bane and like brings himself to a standing position, shakes off your original blow, and is going to use his action. He'll use his action to attack you. So, and this time, Delta, you are going to be dealing with a multi-attack. He's going to make 2 melee attacks against you.
Okay.
Your little electric baton. Okay, so there's a. Alright. And he's attacking you with his melee weapon, which is. We're going to go long blade because the other one's ranged, so. One is a 15 to hit, and the other one is a 13 to hit.
Won't miss.
Okay, so he tries to swing. It's very intimidating. It's very scary. He lifts his blade to try to hit you,
The shield.
and yeah, both times, like, are you shielding? Are you blocking? Or are you just...
They do have a
flavoring?
shield.
Okay.
That they have.
So it's very intimidating at first, and then you just hear the clang as the blade hits your shield multiple times. And does nothing. So you are saved.
Woohoo!
All right. And now it is the unstunned Patera's turn. With Annie riding along. And he speaks to you, Annie, and you can tell this is a creature that is very over the situation at the moment. And he looks at you and says, you need a little more tact, a little more, be more like your brother. You should learn a little bit more tact. And he begins to move towards the remaining soldiers with you on his back, basically.
Yay!
He's like, had about enough of this, is all you hear. And that's that's all he's gonna do. That's his turn. So that brings us to the other soldier, which is this guy here, who is barely hanging on and still has beef with Edson. So, yeah, he's like, now it's become one of those one-on-one duels, not a Yu-Gi-Oh duel, not to be confused with that. It's not the duel with the multiple Ds. But he's coming for you.
I don't know, I'm about to send this dude to the Shadow Realm, so...
So he's gonna get to about here, and he's gonna square up his rifle, and he's gonna try to fire a couple shots at you. So, the short rifle. Actually, yeah, he's gonna do that, but it's gonna be at a disadvantage because he's not thinking straight. He's very beat up, but he's still gonna try to hit you regardless. That's what he's got. That's what he's gonna use. Oh wow! You're very lucky he rolled a disadvantage because one of those was a natural 20.
Aye.
It was it's a 17 to hit still.
That still hits.
Yeah, it still hits. So that's 1d8 of damage plus 2. Okay, so that's 4 points of damage to you, Edson, for the rifle.
I'm fine. I think I laugh at him.
Oh my god! This poor dude is he's struggling. He's all beat up and bloody, and Edson's like, haha, I'm made of code. But yeah, and that concludes his turn, which brings us back to the wonderful and lovely Delta.
I'm getting real tired of your shit. And then gonna smack them with their now electrified attack.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Why
Go ahead and
not?
roll the hit and tell me, let's see if we hit.
A natural 20.
Amazing. Double the damage die and let me know what damage you do and what kind of damage it is.
Alright. The baton is a bludgeoning.
Mm-hmm.
So I will roll 2d6 plus a d4 for my electric. Well, plus 2d4 for my electric. Alright. So. $14 damage.
Okay. 14 points of damage.
8 of that was the bludgeoning, the rest was electric.
Okay, so let me give you one moment. That was the newly reinvigorated person in front of you. So, and you hear the crunch of his armor as you do your damage. He takes the hits, but you can tell you definitely did some damage. His especially with the electric as well. He kind of loses his stance a little bit. Because of how ferocious your baton attacks actually were. He wasn't expecting that kind of ferocity from you.
At first, I was almost worried that it was a nat 1, but it's because it's this little image, like it's a little doll.
Mm-hmm.
But the nat 1 was on the opposite side, so I was like, oh, that's a.
You're like, oh, it's not back. Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did some damage. Good job. And then there was Nerix.
Yeah.
Don't jinx yourselves, Lyn.
Let's see. I'd love to run over to the guy I'm closest to. How much movement is that? 5, 10?
Okay, when you say guy you're closest to, we've got
the one
Barret,
closest to the center.
This guy.
Yeah.
So that's the one attacking Delta. So
attacking Delta.
Yeah, that's 30, so you should be fine.
30? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would like to, because Delta is within 5 feet of him, I would like to use my Death Strike.
Okay.
Which lets me
That
deal
happens if you hit.
If I hit,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So I'm going to come at them with probably the saber again.
Okay.
So let me roll a hit. Ooh, that's just a 16 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna roll 1d8 plus 4.
Okay.
Oh, so 2 plus 4, so that's a 6 slashing damage, but I get to do an additional 3d6.
Okay. Go ahead and roll the additional damage.
Okay. It's a 3 and a 6 and a 3.
So
So
for a total
12
of
more.
12 damage. Okay, great.
Well, that was 12 plus what
That's
you originally
12
rolled.
Plus the original, which was a 6, I believe. So it's total
18
18.
18 total.
Okay,
And for
great.
flavor, this is basically Nerix, finished killing the guy, took the earring, turns around, is like, all right, runs over, basically runs up behind Delta, and because she's really short, I want her to sort of jump up, kind of pop up from behind Delta's shoulders, and then just like
Right.
saber like over Delta's shoulders, like surprise, bitch, like boom, and like
Yes. Amazing. So Delta, as you've done your crushing blows and you've put dents in his armor, it creates an opening for Nerix to pop up behind you. Surprisingly, you feel the weight of her suddenly on your shoulders as she slashes at the soldier with her saber, and you see that this soldier gets cut again with the expertise of an assassin. He gets cut in the arm, and the blade sinks deep into the arm, and you have concerns as to whether or not it will remain attached. But Nerix expertly pulls it out before it fully comes off.
Takes the blood of the wall behind her this time. Like, ew.
Oh my god. Cleaning forever. Just straight up replacing her surfaces at this point. But yes. So that is your turn, Nerix. That guy is not looking good. Not looking good at all.
Yeah, while Nerix is up on Delta's shoulder, sort of examining like the damage that Delta's already done to him, is like, "Ooh, nice job."
You too.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. So that brings us to the top of the round again. Annie, what are you doing? What's going on? What's happening?
Annie's gonna launch himself off the dragon.
Okay.
Right at the one that Nerix is incapacitating.
Yes. We love a
So
layup.
you're gonna go here. Basically.
I'm going like full wrist blades, like
Okay.
wrist blades
Roll.
first.
Roll to attack.
What do I 17.
Okay, great. That hits. Roll for damage.
1 slashing damage, and then I'm gonna deft strike.
You should also add your dexterity to
right.
that
Yes.
damage.
5 damage.
Okay. 5 damage.
Plus
and then you said deft strike.
deft strike is 5 plus 6 plus
11.
4.
Okay. 5 plus 6 plus 4, so that's 11 plus 4 is 15 damage
15.
total for this
15
guy.
plus the original 5.
15 plus 20.
So 20 damage.
Oh my god, Nerix is so proud.
Great. So I want you to describe to me how you finish this particular soldier, Annie.
Wrist blades to the eyeballs.
Okay. So you Nerix and Delta are having a moment of examining the damage when all of a sudden Annie runs up and just like
No, launched from the dragon.
launches himself. Well, they didn't see you launch; they just see you rush up. They because they're focused on the soldier, and the Batera is slightly behind them at the moment. So.
Oh, I was thinking like I fly over them.
Oh, you fly onto. Okay, yes. So then
Like I dive
all
from
of a
the
sudden,
dragon over them.
all of a sudden, you hear a kathunk, and you see Annie land on top of the soldier and gouge out his eyeballs with his wrist blades. Very expertly, actually. He performed the movement quite well.
He pops up and goes, ah!
Yeah.
Good job.
After the soldier collapses.
Can Nerix pull out her like personal the equivalent of a phone and be like, "I'll get a picture for your mother. Hang on." Just have you pose in front of the body, be like, "Oh, you're doing such a good job. All right, I'm sending this over. Is there one left?" Like.
Oh my god! Perfect. Amazing. So.
In the
The
background,
angle is about to be the most
other-
unhinged thing in the background.
In the background, the other one going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like the final soldier's just like, what is happening? And that brings us to the showdown with Ed. So Ed, what are you doing?
This guy isn't standing down, right?
This guy is dead, and that leaves us with the one guy that's facing off with you. That's all like,
Yeah.
do you want to duel?
Shadow Realm for this guy. Yeah,
Technically, I mean, they're all in armor and they all have like face shields, so really
Finish
it's
them.
yeah.
Finish them. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm going to use. I don't know. I have so many prime talents that I can use, and they're all effectively the same.
It's amazing.
No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sprite beam.
Sprite beam.
So
Okay.
I roll 2 attacks.
Is it like yellow and green? Like Sprite?
Like Sprite?
It's
Not
Mountain
sponsored.
Dew flavored. Again, not
Get
sponsored.
Baja blasted, bitch.
So the first roll is a dirty 20, and the second roll is an 18.
Both of those hit. Roll for damage.
Great. So that's 2d10. Are you in d10? Let's see what. So that is 12 points of force damage.
12 points of force damage. Okay. So, describe to me how you finish this guy.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be weirdly in the background of the photo that Nerix is taking. So it's like, so
Hell yeah.
You just see
We're
like
just-
a Sprite beam with like a
well, I think this is going to look pretty like it's like, I don't know, Annie with like some eyeballs on the wrist blades going like ta-da, like, but in the background you see like Edson with like an arm up and like covered in like essentially like black static and code, like looking very snake-like. The sprite beams coming out, like intertwining. You said like Overwatch. It really is like
Yes.
Genji. Genji is like
Genji, yeah.
Genji's special, like kind of intertwining and just like it looks like snakes biting his neck. As the sprite beam just like take full. But I want to imagine that it's like a slightly blurry image, but like everything on my end looks like really glitchy and strange, like in the picture, because it probably captures my persona like a little bit in the photo because it's a digital image, but it's also like a little blurry and glitched out where you're like, is that photoshopped in there? What's going on
happening?
behind Annie?
Right.
But yeah, the actual finishing move is just like 2 like digital snakes just like going for the throat.
Oh my god. So yeah, so you just so these 2 digital snakes wrap themselves around this last poor soul and crunch right into his neck. And you just hear him like he just lets out a scream and horror as these things attack him, and he backs up and backs up and backs up and falls right out of the tower. As you recall, this tower is very far up.
Very tall.
I'd like to
Yes,
think
it
that
is.
the 3 of us, like Delta and Annie and Nerix, are like looking at the photos, like, oh, that's a pretty good. What the fuck? And then we look up, and then it's just Edson standing there alone, like, you know.
Oh yeah, when you look up, it's just Edson looking like a normal guy again.
Yeah. Exactly. There it is.
That's it. Everybody's like, what just happened? But yes, you are officially out of combat. Congratulations.
Yay!
So the Batera that Annie had tried to attack earlier huffs and walks back to his seat amongst the silk pillows. And that's where we're going to cut our episode tonight. Join us next time and find out what this wonderful Batera's reaction is to the apology gift.
I feel like it's gonna be fine.
It's okay.
Sure, it'll be great. You know, piss off your allies. That's the way to go.
We can send a cleaner for the walls. It'll be fine.
I first think later. Steam clean marble. Oh my god. But anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.